sensational catch.
There it is. Open man diving. He's got it. He's got it. How do you like that?
Good afternoon and good evening, everyone, and welcome to Hormel Stadium here in Medford, Massachusetts. 75 perfect degrees on the outside. Temperature, absolutely perfect for today's game. Refreshing wind at about 7 miles per hour. Humidity at about 49%. Bright sunshine could be a concern early on here today. Hi, everybody. Jeff Poster, Don Boyle alongside for the call of this key matchup in the Eastern Conference of the MLU. And well, Jeff, at stake here could be a potential positioning in the upcoming playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, these two teams have been dogging it out, really, for top dog, for lack of a better word there, in the top of the East. And D.C. clinched their home playoff. Boston's still looking to get there. It's anyone's game tonight.
And don't pay attention to that 2014 season record for D.C. They're actually 6-1, not 1-6. They have already clinched a playoff berth, and the Whitecaps just 2 wins away from doing that. A lot to do during this pregame part of the broadcast. We'll take a break on MLU Live. We'll be back with more of our pregame show right after this.
Come on out and bring the family when the Boston Whitecaps come to Sweeney Field at St. Joe's University to take on the Philadelphia Spinners. Go to spinnerstix.com and grab a 4-pack for just $44. Join us for games, prizes, and ultimate fun for the whole family. June 15th at 2 p.m. Tickets are on sale now.
Jeff Snyder here, Commissioner of Major League Ultimate. 15 years ago, I got out of the Marine Corps, played my first ever game of Ultimate Frisbee with my brother. And now, I find myself immersed in one of the fastest growing team sports in the nation. And here, at beautiful PPL Park in Philadelphia, on July 19th at 6:30 p.m., the largest showcase of our sport will happen with the MLU Championship game. You can get all tickets and information at MLUchampionship.com to see the best in the world. I'll see you there.
Welcome right back here to Hormel Stadium. We go down field side. The head coach of the Boston Whitecaps, Sam Rosenthal, is down there. Sam, how you doing tonight?
Pretty well, thanks. How are you?
Well, Sam, you got to be excited about this. You go up against a top team in the Eastern Conference, and really a chance to make your mark here at home against the Current tonight.
Yeah, we're excited, no doubt.
You talk about being excited. Keys of the game from your perspective. Start with the O-line.
Our O-line, we got to get deep cuts on these guys. They got an athletic D-line, and first time we went down to D.C., we were playing about 8 deep on O, and that was a mistake. And throwing some extra guys out there, and we got to cut downtown on them.
It's kind of warm here today, 75 degrees. It's some bright sunshine. How's that going to affect
about
the playing
time, right?
substitutions? Yeah, absolutely.
How's it going to affect us? Not much. Our general strategy, we know 1 to 25, we're the deepest team out there. I mean, we're going to use all our guys. We got 24 guys that are going to go today, and we're going to play them all.
It's a team that brims with confidence, but you haven't won on the road yet. Not to look ahead, but you finished the year on the road. So talk about the significance of a win here today against D.C.
Well, we're 4-3 and fighting for a playoff spot. We win this, and we win one more. I think we're in. So
and the
pretty important game.
How about the health of the squad?
We've got a lot of injuries right now. We got 4 or 5 pretty important guys that are out today, but is what it is. Going with the guys we have.
Well, Sam, it's been a terrific run thus far in your first year. You enjoying it?
Yeah, it's a very well-run league, and it's just great to be around the guys again.
And I have to mention one more thing. You do have ties to D.C. You've played or coached in Washington, D.C., and, of course, here in the Boston area. And,
sure.
Talk about that inner rivalry that goes on in your mind.
Well, Kevin's an old teammate of mine, actually, Kevin Moldenhauer, and I love playing with him, and I love playing against him, too. He's doing a great job coaching them. And I don't know. I'm sure he'd say the same thing. I like to have our team beat his, and he probably likes to have his team beat ours. It's a nice little rivalry we got going.
Well, you look relaxed today. Go get him.
Thanks very much.
All right, Sam Rosenthal joining us, first-year head coach of the Boston Whitecaps. We'll step aside. We'll be back with more of our pregame comments after this.
With the playoffs rapidly approaching, the top two teams jockey for position. The Surgical Stags, led by Eli Freeman, travel north to take on Donnie Clark and the most potent offense in the West. Come out and bring the family as Portland takes on Seattle for first place heading into the home stretch. Renton Memorial Stadium, June 14th at 7 p.m.
Jeff Snyder here, Commissioner of Major League Ultimate. 15 years ago, I got out of the Marine Corps, played my first ever game of Ultimate Frisbee with my brother. And now, I find myself immersed in one of the fastest growing team sports in the nation. And here, at beautiful PPL Park in Philadelphia, on July 19th at 6:30 p.m., the largest showcase of our sport will happen with the MLU Championship game. You can get all tickets and information at MLUchampionship.com to see the best in the world. I'll see you there.
Right back here at Hormel Stadium as we settle in for the opening pull. Will be the Whitecaps in possession of the disc. Down to our right, DC will receive it. They're clad in their dark uniforms. They look black into the sunshine with some silver numerals, very sharp-looking uniforms. And Boston sporting their all-white uniforms, nice and cool on a warm day with the blue numerals. At least it looks that way in the bright sunshine, Jeff. And a couple of keys of the game from your perspective here today.
Yeah, let's start off first with DC. You know, they obviously had that really long drive up here. You got to get over that quick. You're here now. This is the game. You got to focus on that. It was a long ride. I've done it myself. It's not the most pretty. Try and contain Markham Schaffner. They call him the Ginger Cannon because he loves to huck it. He leads the league, actually, in hucks completed at 40-plus yards, but he also leads the team in throwaways while he is ahead of Kolick in assists. So interesting matchup there for Schaffner, and the last one for DC. Relentless D. If you got to win in Boston, you got to force him into awkward throws.
DC going for it all early on, and they'll sky one for the score. Calvin Ong able to reach high and haul it in, and the DC Current quickly on the board. Well, they can certainly hurt you there, Jeff, with that beautiful pass down the field. You can see it again here.
Well, really, I just started talking about him. Markham Schaffner. He's that, I said, his nickname, the Ginger Cannon. He's got that fiery red hair, and he's got a fiery arm ready to send it down deep. Ong, a great cutter, and Schaffner shows exactly why he leads the league in completed hucks, because he can do it, and he's not afraid to. And DC going out early here for that 1-0 lead.
Takes him just 19 seconds to put up the first goal of the game, and now DC with a pull from right to left. So sunlight did not affect anybody on that play. They worked it brilliantly down the near right sideline. So early on, DC showing they have some speed on the O-line. So now a chance for the Whitecaps to get it going. Reb Holtz will control in the middle of the field. Reb Holtz, a accomplished player, of course. Up ahead, the Foster. You're talking about a guy that's playing some great ultimate as a rookie. He's been outstanding. Danny Clark back in the lineup, which is great news for the Boston Whitecaps today, Jeff.
Danny's a big force on offense, especially making those cuts. So nice to see him.
He tried to make a pass. That's going to be stolen away. And now the DC Current with a chance to take a quick 2-0 lead. That was Gibson on the interception. He is a defensive specialist. And now the Current will slow it down and get organized offensively. They'll edge that pass along to the far side to Bellinger, and they'll slow things down and tightly covered there by Reb Holtz. That was a great intercept, wasn't it? That was fantastic.
Well, that's been one of the keys for every team playing Boston going back to last season. Force Boston's cutters into handlers, and Danny Clark's a cutter. He can handle, but you don't really want him to if you don't need him to.
Bellinger had to receive that dump pass, and now a nice feathery pass in for the score. And another point up on the board for Washington as Colchin scores. It is 2-0 D.C. early on.
Well, you just said it starts with that turn from Boston. They weren't very careful with the disc. It's one of our keys to the game, direct attack for Boston. Get back on the offense that they've done so well in the past. Fewer turns, scoring quick, and that time cost them.
So D.C. scores 2 goals exactly 1 minute apart, 19 seconds in, now 1:19 into the contest. And D.C. on top by the score of 2-0. Their O-line has done the work, and their D-line has also done some great work here today, and we'll see some highlights. That interception was brilliant.
Yeah, there it was again. Danny Clark, not exactly the position you want to put him in, and then D.C. just feeds off of that turnover. Turning defense into offense. All good teams in all sports do that well.
With a win today, D.C. Current will clinch first place in the Eastern Conference. A Boston win could make it interesting down the stretch. Whitecaps finish up on the road where they have not won this year. That long huck intended for Graham. Can he make the sensational catch? He cannot come down with it as the defense once again outstanding. That was Danny Cantor that had the defense on Graham.
Yeah. I talked to Coach Kevin Moldenhauer before the game, and the 2 guys on Boston you got to contain, Malachek and Graham. Those are the 2 guys in that play. Cantor was the guy they said was going to do it.
That's going to be hung up there, and Farnsworth will try to get to it, and it's just going to drop safely away. And virtually a punt there by D.C., setting up Boston deep in their own territory.
Well, D.C. had to turn it over eventually, right? You don't go a perfect game usually, so.
Well, their style hasn't changed much from a year ago. They love to send it deep
Hucks
down the field. Yep, they do. One of the reasons why Schaffner has 16 of them this year. Marquette, a vital component for this Whitecap team. Rebholz now controlling. Played out right. That's Graham. Had to make an athletic catch.
Yeah, a little dig out there.
Cantor on him tightly. Malachek, well, in consideration as a most valuable player here this year. Long huck down for Farnsworth. Got a big body. Can he get to it? Oh, that's some layout defense. That is swatted away by Chip Cobb, I believe. And 2 players got banged up in the play, Farnsworth and Cobb, who made the sensational play.
Oh, just a beautiful D there, but I don't like to see this for either team.
Farnsworth looks like he's banged up his wrist. That's been a common injury, really, for MLU players this year. Got a couple out with injuries to their wrists.
Take a look at it again. You see, Farnsworth has Cobb beat initially, and then Cobb makes this great layout. And you see an awkward roll, and Farnsworth comes down on his wrist. Cobb twists up that knee a little bit. And Boston especially has been really plagued by that injury bug this year. See if either one of them make a comeback here tonight.
So just about ready to resume play after that excitement and that wonderful defensive effort a moment ago by Chip Cobb. Now you talk about Malachek up for, of course, Player of the Year honors. Alan Kolick, also another guy that has had just a sensational year for D.C., so we're seeing a couple of the best here today.
When you talk about a handler excelling in the MLU, you can't not start without talking about Alan Kolick. Kolick has just been perfect pretty much all season. And when you look at him, he doesn't look like the type of guy that you would think. You'd see him, he looks like he's going to be that cutter. He's kind of a lean body, moves quick, but he loves to handle the disc, and it does it well. He's only got about 10 throwaways in almost 500 attempts, it seems.
So ready to resume play. Current in possession, traveling left to right. They have the early 2-0 lead. Cody Johnson in the lineup. He wears number 27. We get an infraction call against the Whitecaps and a restart. Has played out to the left side and taken there by Miner. Miner a little up ahead pass to Johnson. Just kind of fed it forward. Now they're trapped along the sideline. And what can Rico Johnson do with it? He made a fabulous catch that I can remember from a game played a year ago.
That was, I know
DC.
exactly what you're talking about.
One of the best.
It was a good one.
The Current moving it meticulously down the field. As a nice throw, softly done, and another score, and a quick 3-0 lead. And I believe on the receiving end was Miner that time. It was Miner, and it is 3-0 Washington on top as he took the pretty pass.
Well, DC's D-line getting it done so far. We haven't taken a look at the replay again on their D-line, just moving the disc effectively. Very nice dig out right there with the layout, and Delrico Johnson with the assist to Astro Minor. He had a good game last week against Philly. As DC just continues, they are gelling all season long. They have been.
I got a timeout on the field. We'll take a quick 30-second break if we can, and we'll be back with the poll. It's DC on top, 3-0.
Jeff Snyder here, Commissioner of Major League Ultimate. 15 years ago, I got out of the Marine Corps, played my first ever game of Ultimate Frisbee with my brother. And now, I find myself immersed in one of the fastest growing team sports in the nation. And here, at beautiful PPL Park in Philadelphia, on July 19th at 6:30 p.m., the largest showcase of our sport will happen with the MOU Championship game. You can get all tickets and information at MOUchampionship.com to see the best in the world. I'll see you there.
Welcome right back. I see a great crowd here at Hormel Stadium for this key matchup in the Eastern Conference. And right now, early on, DC has jumped out to a 3-goal lead. They went on a 10-goal run last week to pick up a win. And, boy, when they get rolling, they are tough to stop, Jeff.
They just get that momentum. It just builds and builds the whole game, and they start to, like you just said, you can't stop them, really. And it looks like they're carrying that momentum from last week. 3-0 already.
They talk about their D doing the job. David Cranston, one of the defensive specialists, and Ben Fleming, who's questionable with a wrist today, the D leaders with 7 apiece, and we haven't called their names yet, either because they're not in uniform or they haven't got in the lineup or they haven't been needed that in that perspective as of yet.
Well, we've seen Boston put up 2 hucks. Didn't work. Malachek's had his hand in it. Brescher had one in there. And Clark with the throwaway. So really, Boston's giving it to DC right now. The offense needs to reel it in.
Well, they get another chance with it right now. The Whitecaps in the white uniforms will immediately move it up ahead and try to get something going. That was Taylor who received the pull. And as that aggressive defense by DC again, as Eddie Peters will commit the foul. And they're going to, I guess, say Marquette maybe on the, no, there was Marquette on the foul. That Marquette would be turned over the disc this year, wouldn't it?
Away from the disc, so that'll just back him up.
Now it's Clark to control. I didn't see it, as you
again.
mentioned, away from the disc. This is Marquette along the sideline here. Up ahead, nice catch by Graham, forced to the sideline.
You see
Pressure.
Boston looks a little frantic right now with their offense.
Oh, that one got caught in some wind. Look out. It's going to be knocked away. It was over the head. It floated away from Malachek. And D.C. will take advantage perhaps of another turnover as their defense, with the help of the wind, will get the disc back. And now the offensive foul. There's what I was talking about, the offensive foul when you have the disc and you turn it over.
Exactly. A little bit of difference on the rules there. The offensive foul, immediate turnover. If it's away from the disc, it's just a 10-yard penalty.
Marquette. Can Boston cash in? Clark just yards away from the goal line. Back to Marquette. Cricket holds on. Looks like he wants to throw a hammer. Now a little forehand. Moved it along the pressure. And we'll get a whistle again. Officials calling it tight over the last minute or so.
Getting a little contact going.
They play it out for Clark, and he'll make the catch on a little feed from pressure. Boston's on the scoreboard, and it's 3-1.
Well, it took a couple of whistles to help him out getting up there, but Boston on the board. Brescher gets a couple inches closer there and able to feed it to a cutting Danny Clark, and that's really where you want Clark. You don't need him in the middle of the field making those in cuts. He needs to be the guy that goes long and stretches the field for you like a big wide receiver in football. He's got the length. He's got the speed.
Well, it took the Whitecaps 6 minutes and 52 seconds to put up a point, but they're back in this game now at 3-1.
And if you're DC, you can't let Boston get their confidence because they're very similar teams. Once that momentum gets going, it's like a train on the tracks. You can't stop it.
Boston has not lost at home. All 3 of their losses on the road, to Philadelphia, to New York, and to D.C. So they're consistent on the road, losing to every opponent in the Eastern Conference.
Well, this is really the first time we've seen D.C.'s O-line.
Yeah, they haven't had to be out there at all. The defense has done all the work. The D-line
played that short first point, and that was it.
That was. We get a chance to see Peter Pryl, the former Whitecap, outstanding player, having a wonderful year for D.C. There's a little bump. Good example of some tight defense by Thomas Cooper in the white uniform for the Whitecaps.
Yeah, Schaffner, you could tell too, right before that bump, he wanted to put it up.
Schaffner loves to throw my favorite pass, the hammer.
The fan favorite, Don.
Long, yeah, right. I'm not the only guy. Nice catch by Pryles. He had to reach behind. Little triangle game going on right now. Kolek.
There's Kolek taking off. As soon as he makes that catch, boom,
One of
next
the
cut.
point leaders here in the MLU, 2014 style. What a year he has had, and they score. That's Pryles cutting back to it and making the catch. Indeed. No, Pryles with the pass, and I believe the catch was made by number 2, Sean Keegan, for the score. So it is now 4-1.
Yeah, you're right. Where's Pryles right here? Makes that quick catch. And Keegan beating his man down the field.
Comes 7:55 into the opening quarter. DC now on top of Boston, 4-1. So their O-line does the job.
O-line's been doing the job all season. The offense has just been great. I mean, we talked about Jeff Graham earlier for Boston leading the league in offensive efficiency, but he's a singular player. Boston's O-line has struggled here to start, and DC have had 2 opportunities, and they've gotten 2 points from their O-line. Guys like Kolek, he's trying to cement his status as the Eastern Conference MVP.
Good strong pull. Hangs up there nicely. DC hustling down defensively to get set. Malachek is going to play it back to Rebholz. And Rebholz will be guarded tightly. Flicks it up ahead cleanly to Farnsworth. Farnsworth ever improving here for the Whitecaps. Big wide body. Now Graham along the sideline. And he's able to dump it back to Taylor. Played that around a pretty good defensive effort to get it to Malachek.
And just nice to see Farnsworth back in the game after that wrist injury.
Rebholz. Taylor. Taylor looks downfield. Fakes a long pass. He just faked a current right out of his boots. That was Delrico Johnson. Now they come all the way back across the field with a dangerous pass. It was well covered, and Cricket Marquette couldn't haul it in, and they turn it over.
Looked like Marquette might have been thinking about his next throw before making that grab. That's costly.
Cody Johnson had the defense on him. We've called his name a couple of times already here in the opening quarter. Now Johnson to control in the middle. Back out the right it goes. Rico Johnson playing some catch with Cody Johnson. Sideline. Cantor.
And Delrico's wide.
Indeed. And the score by Delrico Johnson. Cantor made the feed to him. It is 5-1 DC. They are taking advantage of sloppy play by the Whitecaps in the opening quarter.
Look at Delrico Johnson. You saw him first come out of the corner of your screen. Nobody came to pick him up. No defender there close. DC's a smart enough team. They're going to make you pay for that if you don't keep your defenders right there with them.
So they now lead it 5-1 with 2:50 remaining here in the opening quarter. Another pull-up coming. Just want to mention the official disc of the MLU is Innova Pulsar, designed in cooperation with players and staff of the MLU. The new Pulsar is the perfect disc for the pro game. Get your Pulsar today at shop.mluultimate.com or visit innovadisc.com and look for the rest of their great products on their website.
Now, this is interesting right now. Boston now in that 4-goal deficit. And I talked to Sam Rosenthal a bit if he was going to try and have those kind of hybrid OD lines. He said he didn't really need to this week because they were healthy. Now we see a couple of D-line players out there with some O-line guys in case of a turn.
This is Clark to control. You're right, the Current have turned just about every turnover into a point they have cashed in. That's sent long way down for Clark, and he get to it. It's up high, it's tipped, and the defense again may have impeded the opportunity for the catch. On the defense, hold on, was
we're getting a whistle.
Colchin. We may get a whistle, and it will be an infraction there because of contact, and Boston will maintain possession. Andy Clark. Quickly near side. A little fake of the pass by Pressure, and they play it back. Oh, good athletic catch by Simmons.
Yeah, good defense so far right here for DC.
Yeah, they've been all over. There's a hammer, and that's a score. On the far side, they put it onto the hands of Jimmy Foster.
He was just waiting there for it. Take a look again. First, we'll take a look. Is this really a foul? You see a little bit of condiment. You got the hand on the back of Danny Clark, so that might have been a little bit of a shove, but a borderline call all the same. So Boston gets a little bit of help from the referees there and able to cash in. We'll see if that can get them to shake off their stride a little bit here and get going.
Time of the goal, 10:07 of the quarter. Foster able to cash in for Boston. 5-2 you score. And we'll get the pull from left to right here. A lot of the players on the field doing what we're doing, Jeff, here in the press box, fighting off that sun with our hands.
We can see the shadows starting to creep onto the field. You talk a lot about that in baseball. Batters and pitchers dealing with the shadows. And see how it affects an ultimate game.
Hirschberger with a long pull down the field. Kolek had a quick touch. He wears number 99, one of the terrific players. Markham Schaffner, no slouch himself. Forced to dump it on back to Blake. Quickly to the near side. Kolek up ahead. They do a great job finding some openings. Oh, Pryles pass a little low, and they're going to rule that incomplete. And a turnover back to the Whitecaps and a chance to go on a 2-goal run.
Yeah, Sean Keegan tried to sell it. He picked it up and tried to throw it right away, see if he could shake the refs off of it, but got some keen eyes down there.
Christian Foster. Can they cash in now? Broward Jarvis to control. Comes to the near side with the pass. And it's collected by Foster again. He'll edge a hammer too sharply to the turf and a turnover. Boy, Hirschberger, that would have been a knifing catch. That would have tore his fingertips off if he caught that one.
Hirschberger in a little bit of an odd position trying to make the turnaround move for that. No good.
Now this back into the hands of the Current. They work it quickly, and that is hucked down by the end zone. Becomes a jump disc, and everybody skies for it, and it's going to be batted out of play as the defense by Montgomery Butler knocking it away.
Well, it might have gone out of the back regardless, but Miles trying to be just sure, but I think this one's coming back. It is.
Well, I guess fair play is fair play. They called a questionable foul on D.C. defensively, now one on Boston here, and the Current throws it right back. They give it away on a turnover. I don't know if that was a gesture of sportsmanship or not.
Maybe a makeup call?
Yeah. Interesting. It is a gentlemanly game, of course. So they say.
Spirit of the game, Don.
Absolutely. You get a little fraction there.
That's Robin Myers with the disc. Haven't seen him in a while. He's been injured. Good to see him back on the field.
Absolutely. He's guarded tightly by Kolek, who had gone for that steal. We're down to 4 seconds remaining in the quarter. Boston will send it down, the long huck, and it's going to be knocked away by the Current defense. The numbers were equal, 3-3 going after that high disc.
Yeah, anyone's game right there. And I always love the end of the quarter because you love to see that huck right at the end, just see what happens. And a lot of time it can be a turning point. Hirschberger was close, but DC's defense, really the story of the quarter.
Yeah, they'll leave the first quarter on top by 3 at 5-2. They jumped out to a 3-0 lead. Just 3:20 into the opening quarter. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more of the MLU on MLU Live after this.
Jeff Snyder here, Commissioner of Major League Ultimate. 15 years ago, I got out of the Marine Corps, played my first ever game of Ultimate Frisbee with my brother. And now, I find myself immersed in one of the fastest growing team sports in the nation. And here, at beautiful PPL Park in Philadelphia, on July 19th at 6:30 p.m., the largest showcase of our sport will happen with the MLU Championship game. You can get all tickets and information at MLUchampionship.com to see the best in the world. I'll see you there.
Come on out and bring the family when the Boston Whitecaps come to Sweeney Field at St. Joe's University to take on the Philadelphia Spinners. Go to spinnerstix.com and grab a 4-pack for just $44. Join us for games, prizes, and ultimate fun for the whole family. June 15th at 2 p.m. Tickets are on sale now.
Right back here at Hormel Stadium. Jeff Poster, Don Boyle. Interesting opening quarter of play. DC on the road. Not leg weary right now. They have the 5-2 lead over Boston as we begin the second quarter.
Yeah, not leg weary at all, despite that long drive up here from D.C. They came out firing. I think they were excited. I talked to Coach Moldenhauer before the game. This is what they had circled on the calendar as expected. You know, they beat them. They were the first team to beat Boston. Then they come up here the following week. They kind of lay an egg. Boston kind of flexed their muscle a little bit, and now they're out to prove we're in first for a reason because we're better than you.
Well, they clinched first place with a win here today. And, of course, home field advantage in the playoffs and a chance to move on to PPL Park, of course, in beautiful Philadelphia, Pennsylvania on July 19th for the MLU championship. So that should certainly be initiative enough, right?
Oh, I would think so. Plus, you know, we talked about, you know, when the league first started, we'd probably have a Boston-New York rivalry and a DC-Philly rivalry. But I think this is a rivalry in the makings of this early league. These two teams maybe facing off again in the playoffs this season. They've battled it out this year. This is what rivalries are all about, two teams that don't like each other very much.
The Current with the pull to start the second quarter of play, and the Whitecaps with a chance to try to get some offense flowing. Offense has turned it over numerous times already. Reb holds the control. Malachek has not been involved in the offense all that much as yet. He'll need to do that.
Well, Sam Rosenthal's got his regular O-line guys back out there. No hybrid.
Pressure. Plays it over to Danny Clark. Clark handling that disc a lot here in the opening half of play.
That's what DC wants.
Good pass up ahead. Good look to find a wide open Malachek on the cut. And he'll edge one down. And that is a sensational catch. Holy cow. Jimmy Foster.
Wow. Highlight reel worthy right there. Take a look again. First, watch Malachek. He gets low, floats the disc up. The defender almost lays out and grabs it. And then Foster with the left hand rolling all the way to the back of the end zone, taking it in. He's got the crowd pumped up after that one.
Well, Boston now on a modest 2-goal run. They've closed the gap to 2 at 5-3. Interesting fact, Boston has not won 2 games in a row all year long.
Well,
it's amazing.
It's funny because they've pretty much gone this season. They can't win on the road, and every game has been home, away, home, away. They had the bye last week. This is really their first time they've played technically back-to-back home games, which they're hoping the trend continues.
Yeah, if they do win today, it is going to make everything interesting over the final couple of weeks. D.C. has New York and Philadelphia on the docket, and likewise for the Whitecaps, who would play the role of the spoiler. Matter of fact, nobody's out of contention yet for a playoff spot in the Eastern Conference.
Actually, only one team in the entire league, San Francisco
That's right.
out west. That's it. Anyone's game.
Let's see what the D.C. Current will do. Pryor will dump it on back. Kolick up ahead. They try to move it quickly to Ong. Ong scored the game's first goal. Near side it comes. Schaffner loves to have that disc in hand. They try to cover him tightly here along the sideline.
Yeah, great
using McDonald.
McDonald with a nice mark on Schaffner trying to contain him.
It really took away a lot of his space, really forced him to dump it off.
Stevens drawing the matchup on Kolick. That's a tough job for him. Tough job for anybody.
Stevens could be up to the task today. Thus far, Kolick has been rather quiet in the opening half of play. Now Kolick with an opening to feed. Look at that pass with a left hand, but it's going to hang there. Oh, how do you do? It will be caught by Schaffner. Where did he come from?
Oh, boy. You said it, Don. Where did he come from? Last I saw him, he was getting stuck against McDonald on the mark. All of a sudden, he's on the other side of the field. Here's what I love about Kolek. I've said it time and time again. I love the fact that as soon as he makes his throw, he's immediately cutting. First goal, no good. Little bit of a tip. And I love the accented clap on the disc by Schaffner.
Well, the great one was number 99, wasn't he? I think we just saw a great
that's
throw from
true.
this 99.
That is a high praise comparison.
It comes, of course, on the night that the New York Rangers and the L.A. Kings, two teams that Gretzky played for,
That's right.
will compete in the playoffs
Head-to-head
tonight in the Stanley
matchup.
Cup Finals. We will not have a Triple Crown champion.
No.
We know that. We have a new
Saw
French
that.
Open champion today. So a lot going on.
And they say summer is baseball season.
Oh, yeah. Did we mention that yet?
What do they know?
Well, very outstanding play just a moment ago, either accidental or not. It was a lot of fun. That's some
Look at that
contact,
D.
and that's some great defense, is right. Gibson with the steal. Dominic Gibson. Boy, did he front brilliantly on that, didn't he, to make that catch?
Great layout. Getting in front of his man. You got to go to the disc. It's one of the most basic things to do in the game of Ultimate, but people forget it at times. Go to the disc. Beat your man there.
This DC team, first time I've had a chance to watch them play here, Jeff, in 2014, reminds me of last year's Whitecaps team.
They really do. And maybe part of that is getting Pryle, who played for Boston last year. He might have infused that energy into them. But they're mostly unchanged from last season. Not a lot of guys. Your mainstays, Kolek, Schaffner, Wodach.
Sometimes you bring attitude with you, too.
That's exactly right. But you're right. They remind you of Boston. Their offense just moves so swiftly. Right there.
Yep. Colchin on the receiving end, wide open. They make it 7-3. DC now in a 2-goal run.
Well, once again, DC taking advantage of good defense, turning it into offense. All good teams can do that, and they're a good team. You saw the initial D for the interception, and just pretty simple ultimate after that. Here's the pick. Rebels floats it up. Boston makes a mistake of not breaking towards the disc fast enough. Marquette and Gibson, who's been a recent addition to DC, actually. And Bowling Colchin, that's textbook right there.
I'll tell you, the way that Gibson moved on that disc right there, some NFL teams to take a look at him. That was perfectly done. Great timing. We've seen that all afternoon long here by the Current. Perfect timing defensively. Very aggressive on the defensive side of things.
That's the way you win games. Defense wins championships, they say.
So Malachek to control the middle of the field. He'll feed it up. Quickly to the near side, they work it as they try to calculate what's best to do against this aggressive defense. Pressure. That clock ticking down, and they're going to turn it over on the
That's a
stall.
stall.
Just not going Whitecaps' way thus far. Down by
No,
4 goals,
not at all.
7-10 remaining in the opening half.
And I think it's all mental. They just are making mental mistakes, things that they never had been doing last year or any of their home games this season.
Delrico Johnson, another wide open, uncontested catch for a score. And I'll tell you what, DC has come to play here today, and they open up an 8-3 lead on the receiving end. Was Colchin again. He's got 2 consecutive scores.
There it is again. Delrico Johnson having a nice afternoon, a couple of assists. David Bowling Colchin. This back-to-back goals for him. He scored the last one, stayed out on the field, gets another. Boston needs to settle down. They used one timeout already. You got 2 for the half, and as you know, we're under 7 minutes. Wondering at what point does Sam Rosenthal call that second one? How far does it have to get?
We're talking about the similarities of this DC team to Boston's championships team from a year ago. One thing that DC does this year is they play fast, don't they?
They get rid of the disc
Yeah.
quick, and a lot of that starts and ends with Kolek. That's his MO. He moves the disc up quick, and then he's the next guy there for it to keep that trend going. Boston has not done that today.
Rusty and Goldsmith into the lineup here, one of the hometown favorites on the Whitecap team.
This is Boston's D-line. A lot of their players out there moving the disc this time.
Hirschberger.
Trying to get the O-line legs a little bit of a break.
Absolutely. Really struggling to get things moving forward. Montgomery Butler to the near side. DC's playing a little looser defensively. Looked like they're going man-to-man here. And coming back to it, Hirschberger had the hustle of that catch, as well contested by Colchin.
Nice grab there by McDonald, too. That's what they need.
McDonald will dump it on back. Thinking hammer was Simmons, but did not. Ingold Smith up ahead, and towing the line for the score is Jack Hatchett. And Boston has one on the board to make it 8-4.
Well, Jack Hatchett doesn't do that too often. He's normally the guy swatting the disc away. He's not usually on the receiving end of a score, but Boston needs to find somebody to get in the end zone. Maybe they're a little bit of younger legs, too, for Boston's defensive line. It's a lot of younger players there, probably anchored by a guy right there, Hirschberger, you see, and Hatchett, both in their early 20s. Whereas Boston's O-line, a little bit older guys, so Rosenthal giving them a break, and the D-line cashing in.
Tell you, Hirschberger really made that play work when he came back to that disc that was in dangerous territory, held on to it. You're talking about coming back aggressively to field it, and he did it.
You got to attack the disc. Can't be afraid of it. Can't just lazily let it come to you, because if you do that, other team's defender is just going to take advantage.
So now we get a chance to see Keegan in control of the disc. Moves it along to Kolick. Keegan quickly up ahead, left side, Schaffner. Schaffner had that interesting catch for score. Like to see that one again. Oh, boy, that became dangerous. Might have been windblown. Keegan had to dive after it.
To chase that one down for a mile, it seemed.
Doy, another great player for the Current with great stats here in 2014. Pryl along the sideline, forced to dump it on back. Taken by Dong. Played off left side, and that's Tommy Doy.
Pryl and Ong, both two players who missed last game.
Kolick's going to send one. Stretch it down on the huck. It's going to hang. Defense there, and it's going to be knocked away. It hung just a little too high, and it's knocked away. It might have been Broward Jarvis.
I think it was. It was. TBJ.
5:20 remaining, and we get a timeout here at Hormel Stadium. We'll take a break. Your score at 5:20 remaining till halftime. It's DC on top of the Whitecaps. 8-4.
Jeff Snyder here, Commissioner of Major League Ultimate. 15 years ago, I got out of the Marine Corps, played my first ever game of Ultimate Frisbee with my brother. And now, I find myself immersed in one of the fastest growing team sports in the nation. And here, at beautiful PPL Park in Philadelphia, on July 19th at 6:30 p.m., the largest showcase of our sport will happen with the MLU Championship game. You can get all tickets and information at MLUchampionship.com to see the best in the world. I'll see you there.
Right back here at Hormel Stadium. Just want to mention LT Photos, the official photographer of Major League Ultimate. You see the guys all over. The pictures are outstanding. Check them out at LTPhotos.com, and you can check out all their MLU complete game coverage. I'll tell you, outstanding work that they do. It's amazing.
They really do. And we had a nice high school all-star game here before our game tonight, and Ulti-Photos is kind enough to come out and take photos of the kids playing in the high school game. I'm sure that made the kids excited, too. They'll get nice coverage of themselves.
They put themselves in some tough positions. I mean, they're field level, laying on the ground, on the turf, taking photos from the foot view on up. It's crazy.
A lot of them are ultimate players. Well, everyone in this community that works, they all play, it seems.
I guess I must pick up the sport.
You could do it, Don.
I think I'll pick up the golf game instead.
All right.
Or maybe spike ball.
I tried that for the first time last week. It's fun. Not very good, though.
Malachuk. Check onto the far side. Played up ahead. Oh. And there's more great defense. I'll tell you what. DC today has been absolutely outstanding. I didn't pick up the number who made that play. I couldn't see it in the sunlight.
It was Chip
but it was
Cobb.
Outstanding. Yeah. If it was, that's a second great one by Cobb.
And he's back out there. He left the field, tweaked his ankle. Now he's back. Good to see him back.
It looks like getting a timeout here with 4:53 remaining till halftime. 8-4 your score. Washington on top of Boston. They're going to throw some great things into the crowd there. Looks like T-shirts and the like, so come on out to an Ultimate game in your hometown and enjoy.
Keys to the game. We talked about these a little bit before the start. DC, they've clearly shaken off the trip. It was that long trip up, but it doesn't seem to matter with the 8-4 lead and just relentless defense. Markham, the marksman. I like that. A little alliteration there. Markham Schaffner is not afraid to huck it. We mentioned it. He's had a couple today. He leads the league in hucks, completed hucks, 16 of them. That's 40-plus yards. He has the league, or the team lead in assists, at least coming in, 23-22 over Kolek, surprising enough. But on the other hand, he leads the team in throwaways, so that's a spot that Boston can pressure. And relentless D, they've had it. You've seen the takeaways. Gibson's had a couple. Delrico Johnson in there. Just some great defense from DC so far this afternoon, and it's proven to work here against Boston.
Yeah, Chip Cobb showed the really exemplified what they're all about with that great play moments ago. So here comes the Current in possession, trying to rebuild their 5-goal lead. Instead, they're going to turn it over as they tried to throw that to the deep edge and just couldn't connect. It looked like it might have been Kolek on the toss. I couldn't pick up who it was.
Wodach.
Was it Wodach?
Wodach out there.
They get into that shadow out of that bright sunlight, and I think it might be easier down for the players now. A lot of shadows across the field, so not much sunlight for them to contend with.
Let's see what Boston's D-line can do. They scored last time.
Looks like Myers in the middle of the field, just outside his end zone. Play to the near side. Boston's got to get something going in Goldsmith. Now they come to the near side. Of course, we have not seen much of Jeremy Nixon here today, the outstanding player out of Harvard. A little bit banged up and will only play, from what you told me, Jeff, if necessary. That is a big loss.
It is. And Nixon, the young guys, had a nice season.
Simmons will huck it down, and it's going to be too high. It's going to be grabbed by Ong. Trying to find it was Hatchett, just couldn't time his leap.
That was great defense by Ong. He had the position. He forced Jack. Jack knew he had to get around Ong, but he mistimes it.
Hatchett was trying to find some positioning. It was just taken away, as you mentioned.
There it is.
Schaffner sends one down, and here's a great intercept by Hirschberger.
Hirschberger's a long body. You have to put it up big to get it around him, especially if he's anywhere near it.
He read the flight beautifully that time. Ingold Smith now to the far side. Terry Roth, haven't seen him play much yet today. He could be a spark plug out there in the field right now for the Whitecaps. 3:12 remaining till halftime. Not a must-score possession, but certainly would feel good if they could cash in. And there it goes down for Hirschberg. He's got the size advantage. Can't make the catch. It's going to be intercepted by Sean Keegan.
Well, you could see Keegan and Wodach both down there on Hirschberger. As soon as Boston's put up those hucks, DC gets a second defender back there just for assurance, and it's worked out.
Yeah, their short-term defense has been outstanding. As you mentioned, when you try to stretch it with a huck, they're there too. Amazing. DC will call a timeout. 2:46 remaining in the opening half. And DC Current on top of the Whitecaps, 8-4.
Jeff Snyder here, Commissioner of Major League Ultimate. 15 years ago, I got out of the Marine Corps, played my first ever game of Ultimate Frisbee with my brother. And now, I find myself immersed in one of the fastest growing team sports in the nation. And here, at beautiful PPL Park in Philadelphia, on July 19th at 6:30 p.m., the largest showcase of our sport will happen with the MLU Championship game. You can get all tickets and information at MLUchampionship.com to see the best in the world. I'll see you there.
As we enjoy this MLU clash in the Eastern Conference, at stake perhaps a clinch of first place for the DC Current. And if the Whitecaps can pull off a win, they make it a little bit interesting in the standings in the Eastern Conference.
A little interesting, but I think DC's got this, I don't want to say wrapped up because anything can happen, but DC, especially based on the way they played here in this first half, they look to be in command of the game, in command of the East. And tide turning a little bit in the Current's favor as in the league overall.
You know what it is? They're 4-game win streak. Nobody else in the Eastern Conference
true.
has been able to put one of those together, including the Whitecaps.
Nobody else can win on the road in the
That's
entire
right.
league either. DC's 2-1 at least on the road coming into this one. The one loss up here in Boston, but nobody else seems to be able to do anything on the road.
Yeah, they have split their season series thus far. If Boston were to win, they would own the all-important tiebreaker if there was some sort of DC Current collapse over the final 2 weeks. Kolek. I don't see that happening. Not the way they're playing today.
Not the way they're playing, and not the way Philly and New York are playing either.
Strong. You said it. I didn't. Down to Doy. Up. And again, it's loaded over Doy. Maybe he tipped it, but Lloyd Blake on the receiving end for the score. That's the second time we've seen one of those for the Current today.
Wow. You talk about right place, right time, and DC's had that twice this afternoon, or this evening, I should say. Lloyd Blake coming in kind of in the bailout motion. And again, Boston has just mistimed their jumps. They're not having any luck with their attempts here, both offensively and defensively, to get those hucks. Take a look again. First, here's another. That's the big turn from Chip Cobb a couple plays back. And yet, this is the one they couldn't get to Hirschberger. The Boston mistakes have led to DC's success. Long decides he wants to put it up that time. You take a look. Tom Doy's right there. Boston mistimes it again. And Blake able to bail out his teammate Doy.
Amazing. Each one of those highlights, the numbers favored DC, whether defensively or offensively at all positions on the field.
Story of the game so far.
Absolutely.
DC's just got a foot ahead of Boston.
Malachek to control. He'll have to step it up a bit here in the second half and the remainder of this second quarter if Boston wants to have a chance to come on back here today. Reb Holtz will huck one all the way downfield. Graham awaits. It's going to hang up there, and Graham will make the catch. And he got tackled by Sean Keegan, and he has it for the score.
They shook hands right at the end. Well, you don't leave Jeff Graham alone, even when you got a 5-goal lead. And Keegan gave Graham a lot of space.
Good look at Jeff Graham having another spectacular year despite being hobbled a bit by injury early on.
This is the first week we haven't really seen him on the injury report in a while. So, yeah, like you said, he's been hobbled, but seems to be okay tonight. And I think that's his first point in this one.
He was the MVP of the championship game a year ago. The game played at the Franklin Field in Philadelphia.
Here it is again. You see Graham had a lot of space between himself and Keegan right there at the end. Or Cranston, I should say. Sorry.
So 9-5 you score. DC will receive the pull down to our left. And spinning around is Christian Foster on the pull. And he'll send it downfield. It's going to hang up there a little bit. Boston trying to hustle down to get in position defensively. Let's see how they strategize defensively against this DC Current offensive team right now. That's Blake. Lloyd Blake with a score already. Bit of a double team shown right there. That was easily broken.
Well, Boston got to try and do something. Get in this one.
Kolek up ahead to Doy. Doy will play one to the back edge, and it's caught by Wodash. And that was just too easy. The locomotive, is that what you call him now?
Tony Leonardo and myself decided to give Jeff the locomotive nickname. And I double-checked before the game tonight with Kevin Moldenhauer. Take a look again. He did not have a nickname. So, Jeff Wodash, the locomotive, because you can't stop him once he gets going. And he's got that. He's chugging along right there.
Yeah, he would be part of the, I think, he'd be a freight train.
That's right.
I don't think he's a passenger train. He's a freight train.
Well,
he's going to carry a big load for you.
It's funny, too, because you watch him. He doesn't look like he's the fastest guy out there. And he all of a sudden, he's got this great distance between him and the disc, and somehow he makes up for it. And he just turns into second gear there, and no chance for him to miss that one.
So the spread back to 5 with 1:17 remaining in the opening half. Another good strong pull. It's been the night of the long pull. That one's going to hang up there a little bit and drift to the far side as we speak. It always happens that way, and it's out of play.
Well, I think Boston's goal here, they got to get at least 2 more before the half. If they can make this a 3-goal lead or deficit for them heading into halftime, it's manageable. 5's tough.
Marquette start to play. Check that. That is Henry Pressure. Pressure's going to play it to the near side. Malachek. He's well marked there by Minor. Boy, you mention current name, and they've all been an impact player today already. There's Clark, however, reading the flight of the disc, and he'll score. Boy, they needed that from one of my favorite guys, Danny Clark.
Well, your favorites for a reason, too. He's always getting the job done out there. Deep. Take a look again. They didn't waste any time either. Marquette gets the disc, long huck, baits Cobb into jumping early, and Clark just has to watch it sail into his hands. And Boston doesn't need a couple of quick scores.
10-6 now you score. 56 seconds left. Yeah, to make that cut and break away from Mr. Cobb is not an easy thing to do the way he has played defense today. That's another guy that could be labeled a freight train. Danny Clark, when he gets rolling. Big, strong guy. Out of the lineup for a couple of weeks. Good to see him back in the lineup. Actually playing the role of coach on a couple of occasions. At least it appeared that way, Jeff.
Well, a lot of these Boston guys, they got the experience. They can offer some tips in there, too, that it never hurts to have another set of eyes out there.
Bauer Jarvis on the pull. And it will settle into the hands of Lloyd Blake.
Good pull to start off.
Forcing the current to go a long way. Blake to the middle. Pryle to handle it from there. Out to the left side. Well, they use the middle of the field nicely. Blake, a little feather up ahead.
DC continuing to move quick.
36 seconds remaining in the half. Pryle. Nice feed ahead. Kolick just yards away from the goal line. Back to Pryle. A little bit of a delayed give and go for the score.
Well, too much speed for Peter right there against Bauer Jarvis. See, take a look. Kolick's got it. Peter's just got one too many feet there for Teddy to keep up with him.
Got Kolick for a couple of assists today. Of course, my statistical information is always unworthy.
Don't say that. Don't underestimate yourself.
I guess you can pick up the official stats online.
That's
as we're
right.
broadcasting
You can.
the game. That's the way to do it.
Check them out.
Yep. Technology, an amazing thing, isn't it?
It really is. Taking advantage of it.
Just want to mention Breakmark, the official merchandiser of the MLU, providing gear for the MLU officials and producing the official headwear of the league. Breakmark produces high-quality custom ultimate gear for high school, college, and club teams. Look for them at breakmark.com. So final seconds here. Whitecaps would love one. Oh, Rebels can't put the brakes on and make the catch of a difficult pass to handle. And here's that D-line again doing some work for the current, trying to cash in.
This is huge.
And it's sent over far side. And hello, Dominique Gibson will end the quarter, or nearly end the quarter, with a score.
That is huge. Not the way you want to close out a quarter if you're Boston. You had a chance to at least get it to 4. I said 3 would have been ideal. 4 would have been okay. But now you're potentially facing a 6-goal deficit heading into the locker room. Take a look again. Malachek throwing behind Rebels. You do not see that too much from Muffin.
You see the reaction of Malachek, too. He knew it was a bad throw as soon as it left his hands. He
And
knew Rebels
DC
couldn't get to it.
Didn't really even have to do that much to get it in there, right there.
So the clock will not start until the Whitecaps touch the disc. Let's see what they try to do here. 5 seconds remaining till halftime. So they have doubled their lead over the opening quarter, have the current here. And you got 5 seconds now. There's a long huck down the field.
I don't know if anyone's going to get
It's
there.
a Hail Mary. Who's got it? It's going to be knocked away. Hirschberger had the best chance. He's claimed he was interfered with or knocked down or touched. And are we going to get the foul call? No,
Doesn't
we're
look
not.
like it.
Yeah. So, a dominating opening half, you might say, Jeff, for D.C. They go to the locker room with a 12-6 lead.
Understatement if you call it dominating. They rolled over Boston there. Boston didn't even have a prayer to keep up with DC the way they came out of the locker room for the start of this one.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be back with the second half of this key Eastern Division matchup at the half. DC Current 12, the Boston Whitecaps 6. We'll be back in just a bit. Oh, we're going down to the field.
Jeff Snyder here, Commissioner of Major League Ultimate. 15 years ago, I got out of the Marine Corps, played my first ever game of Ultimate Frisbee with my brother. And now, I find myself immersed in one of the fastest growing team sports in the nation. And here, at beautiful PPL Park in Philadelphia, on July 19th at 6:30 p.m., the largest showcase of our sport will happen with the MLU Championship game. You can get all tickets and information at MLUchampionship.com to see the best in the world. I'll see you there.
With the playoffs rapidly approaching, the top two teams jockey for position. The Surgical Stags, led by Eli Freeman, travel north to take on Donnie Clark and the most potent offense in the West. Come out and bring the family as Portland takes on Seattle for first place heading into the home stretch. Renton Memorial Stadium, June 14th at 7 p.m.
All right back here at Hormel Stadium. You can see the halftime score. DC on top of Boston, 12-6. One of the reasons why has been their outstanding defense, and really the guy that sparked it all is just a rookie with the current. Dominic Gibson is down below. Dominic, what the heck are you doing out there? You set the tone early on.
Yeah, I'm just working hard right now, trying to apply pressure. That's our main goal whenever our defense comes out in the field, just pressure, pressure, pressure.
I call it aggressiveness. Is that a word you use also?
Yeah, of course. I think the more aggressive you are, and if the other team sees it, it really makes them hesitate on some of the throws, and it gives you a chance to make a turn.
And, of course, you cash in with the final goal of the first half. How's that make a defensive specialist like yourself feel when you get a chance to grab that disc in the end zone?
It feels great. You really build off of those moments, and, it keeps you pumped for the rest of the game.
It looks like you guys really came into this contest prepared today with a game plan. Are you executing that game plan to perfection right now with that strong defense and giving that O-line a little bit of a rest?
I'd say so, yeah. We did a lot of studying film, and we choose our markups wisely, and it seems to have paid off so far.
I got to ask you one crazy question. In your off time, do you play spike ball?
No, I never have, actually.
You haven't played that game yet?
Never had a chance.
Maybe one of these days. Second half, what's going on in your locker room now? What are you talking about in preparation for the second half here?
I really have to get in there and hear what our coaches have to say. I mean, I feel like we've done everything great so far on defense, and hopefully it's just we can keep the energy going through the second half.
I was just going to mention that. The energy is very high level. Go get them.
All right, thank you.
All right. Joining us and doing a great job, Dominique Gibson doing great work down below for us. All right, we'll take yet another break, come back with some statistical information and a whole bunch more right here on MLU Live.
Jeff Snyder here, Commissioner of Major League Ultimate. 15 years ago, I got out of the Marine Corps, played my first ever game of Ultimate Frisbee with my brother. And now, I find myself immersed in one of the fastest growing team sports in the nation. And here, at beautiful PPL Park in Philadelphia, on July 19th at 6:30 p.m., the largest showcase of our sport will happen with the MLU Championship game. You can get all tickets and information at MLUchampionship.com to see the best in the world. I'll see you there.
Come on out and bring the family when the Boston Whitecaps come to Sweeney Field at St. Joe's University to take on the Philadelphia Spinners. Go to spinnerstix.com and grab a 4-pack for just $44. Join us for games, prizes, and ultimate fun for the whole family. June 15th at 2 p.m. Tickets are on sale now.
All right, right back here at Hormel Stadium. Really, first half highlights. They all belong to D.C. It started with defense. Dominique Gibson certainly doing the job. Another guy was Chip Cobb. Offensively, they really took advantage of every opportunity, and Boston just so lackluster defensively
Yeah,
today.
I don't know what happened to Boston coming out of the locker room to start this game. You figured they had to have been fired up. They didn't play last week. They want to maintain their home dominance, and really, they laid an egg. Take a look at some of the first half highlights. This is that the first layout D from Chip Cobb. He ended up being a little injured at that, but both players, him and Farnsworth, came back. This was a good dig out right here. Big D again for DC. We see a lot of that tonight. This was Jimmy Foster. This is about Boston's only highlight. The Foster's layout there right all the way to the back of the end zone after he beat a couple of defenders.
Is he wearing those friction gloves to make that catch?
I think he was. And Kolick, that was a pretty one. This is the one that Boston tipped it, and Markham Schaffner, whoop, right there with the clap on the disc. Rebels, deed away by Gibson. And just Boston continuing to not connect offensively. Robin Myers tried to get this one to Hirschberger. They tip it away. Keegan picks it off. Really, just every player for D.C., both offense and defensive lines, have been able to make an impact defensively. And I'll give Jeff Graham, he had a noteworthy highlight play right there, too. As he's usually good for at least one a game.
He really is. Hopefully he's got a lot more left in the tank for the second half here. So there you go. Some of the first half highlights. D.C. 12, Boston 6. Some positives as you take a look at the Whitecaps and Montgomery Butler going through some of his warm-up throws down below. Danny Clark back in the lineup. He has scored a goal here today.
Yep.
Really, that's what he's out there to do.
Yeah, and D.C. did that early. They forced Clark to handle. That's been the name of the game. I've talked to, all the other coaches in this league, both last year and this year. They've tried to force Boston. The general strategies make their cutters handlers. Guys like Clark, guys like Zid, who we haven't heard at all from tonight. Try and get them to handle, and you might have some success against them. They forced Clark to handle a little bit. He had a couple of turnovers, and D.C. took advantage, got out early, and they are well in the lead of this one.
We'll take another break. We'll come back with more halftime chatter. About 7.5 minutes away from the start of the second half of this clash in the Eastern Conference.
Jeff Snyder here, Commissioner of Major League Ultimate. 15 years ago, I got out of the Marine Corps, played my first ever game of Ultimate Frisbee with my brother. And now, I find myself immersed in one of the fastest growing team sports in the nation. And here, at beautiful PPL Park in Philadelphia, on July 19th at 6:30 p.m., the largest showcase of our sport will happen with the MLU Championship game. You can get all tickets and information at MLUchampionship.com to see the best in the world. I'll see you there.
With the playoffs rapidly approaching, the top two teams jockey for position. The Surgical Stags, led by Eli Freeman, travel north to take on Donnie Clark and the most potent offense in the West. Come out and bring the family as Portland takes on Seattle for first place heading into the home stretch. Renton Memorial Stadium, June 14th at 7 p.m.
All right, right back here at Hormel Stadium, trying to put together some stats here. And David Colchin with 3 goals today for the D.C. Current, helping to lead the attack. He got a couple of assists out of Alan Kolick. And, of course, Schaffner has done his thing. So Pryle's done his thing on the flip side for Boston. Haven't seen as much accuracy from Malachek and some of those offensive skilled players.
Boston has not done their thing as a team as a whole. Take a look. This was the keys to the game coming into the game. Contain Kolick. Not a lot easier said than done. They haven't been able to do that. Kolick will burn you. He leads the league in completions and throws. Direct attack. Well, they've tried. they're just not going to the disc. They're trying to get the disc off quicker and get right into the offensive attack, but they haven't been able to. They found themselves playing defense a lot. Boston stronghold, they hadn't lost coming in. Right now, that's not looking like that trend's going to continue, but second half could be anyone's game. You never know. They still have a great home crowd here tonight. A lot of fans still have home cooking on their side. I don't know if it'll pay off in the second half, though, the way they've started off this one.
Well, even if the Whitecaps were to lose this game, certainly in a good position to try to defend their MLU championship. They would have to win on the road in the playoffs, but they get 2 chances to practice winning on the road over the next 2 games.
Yeah, they get Philly and New York in the last 2 weeks of the season. And moving forward, you know, it's that's the beauty of it, playing 1 game a week. You got 1 chance. Even if a team like Boston, who went undefeated last year, DC could have walked in here and still beat them, and it looks right out the window. So you never know. And it's still looking likely that this could be our potential playoff matchup. So it's still anyone's game for as the season goes, and even as this second half goes. It's still anyone's game.
Kind of interesting. In the first 2 meetings between these 2 teams, DC won on April 19th. Can you believe that? That's almost 2 months ago now, right?
Long time ago.
Wow, 18-17 in a close battle. Here at Boston was a 17-12 win for the Whitecaps. In a game I understand wasn't as close as the 5-goal score, perhaps.
No, Boston really took control of that one, but I'll give DC some slack. They were without Pryl. They were without Ong, really the 2 guys who keyed that win for them in the week prior. And Boston, have they struggled on the road? They've only lost their 3 road games by a goal apiece. This is really probably the biggest deficit they've ever faced since last season at the start of this league. So DC, a much different game up here last time. They knew it coming in. They wanted to say that was just a fluke and that their victory down in DC over Boston was the real thing.
You think DC changes their style at all here in the second half? Can they keep up that aggressive pace offensively and defensively for an entire game?
Well, can they keep it up is one question, but I don't think they're going to try and change it or deviate from it too much. The old saying, if it's not broke, don't fix it, and it's working for DC right now. So keep with what works, and you're probably going to come away with a victory. Boston's the team that needs to make the adjustments.
Yeah, Jeff Graham down below looks like he's got the face of a player concentrating on trying to overcome a 6-goal deficit here in the second half on just a beautiful night. Really the nicest night of the year I can remember here in Boston. I mean, we've had rain and lightning delays and
you name it.
Tremendous wind.
We've got it.
Absolutely.
New England weather, right?
Absolutely. Tonight, absolutely gorgeous. Game time temperature when we began at 75 degrees with just a light breeze. Although that breeze did affect the flight of the disc on a couple of occasions.
A little bit, yeah, it always does. It's sometimes tough to adjust to, but I'm not giving that to Boston tonight. They just have made the mental mistakes and have not capitalized on opportunities.
You know, we see the officials down below. They've called 1 stall. That went against Boston, something we have not talked about, what they've done effectively, just playing that tight man-to-man defense against the Whitecaps.
Yeah, DC, their defense, that's been the name of their game so far. They've done a nice job forcing Boston in some awkward situations. They've kept them from getting the disc off quickly, which is where Boston succeeds. They had a lot of trouble down in New York on the road this season because they held on to the disc too long. Come back here the next week, they get the disc off quickly, and they win a game.
All right, we'll take a quick break, about 90 seconds away from the start of the second half. You're watching MLU Live.
Come on out and bring the family when the Boston Whitecaps come to Sweeney Field at St. Joe's University to take on the Philadelphia Spinners. Go to spinnerstix.com and grab a 4-pack for just $44. Join us for games, prizes, and ultimate fun for the whole family. June 15th at 2 p.m. Tickets are on sale now.
Jeff Snyder here, Commissioner of Major League Ultimate. 15 years ago, I got out of the Marine Corps, played my first ever game of Ultimate Frisbee with my brother. And now, I find myself immersed in one of the fastest growing team sports in the nation. And here, At beautiful PPL Park in Philadelphia on July 19th at 6:30 p.m., the largest showcase of our sport will happen with the MOU Championship game. You can get all tickets and information at MOUchampionship.com to see the best in the world. I'll see you there.
Right back here at Hormel Stadium. Nice to be with you all on this beautiful night. Jeff Poster, Don Boyle, as we take a look at the Whitecaps facing a 6-goal deficit, and they will send it downfield on the pull. They get this second half underway. We're in the third quarter, and the DC Current, who took command early, scoring just 19 seconds into the opening quarter, will have the disc first.
Well, Boston's got their fans up and trying to support them still. That always helps. Needs something to get them energized here, get them going.
A little delay before they really get things underway. Clock has not started yet with the disc flying out of bounds on the far side. So Alan Kolick has done his job today. He's delighted the fans with some terrific play. He's in possession. He'll dump it off now to Sean Keegan to the near sideline. And Ong to the middle of the field. There's another quick pass by Doy. And they huck it immediately down. Schaffner can't get that one. He read the flight of that and said, there's no chance I'm giving up on that. Save some energy.
Well, DC put it out there just like they did to start the game, try and get a quick score. And Boston needs to take an opportunity of every chance they get. Down 6, that's a big deficit to start a half off at.
Thomas Cooper to get it started. And forehand flip up the near side. And it's going to be flipped along there by Brower Jarvis. Far side. Let's see if they can get something going. Montgomery Butler with a touch.
Yeah, you see Teddy's threatened that huck a couple of times.
Yeah,
he wants it.
He hasn't found it yet downfield.
No.
That hook is Pryl just running right over the back of Christian Foster. I could have made that call.
Pryl, I think, wanted a call before that.
Now the officials will slow things down.
Out.
Yeah, I think the officials may have saw it differently on the field, too.
I think Pryl is calling for a pick on Brower Jarvis right before, as Teddy made that cut downfield. It left him out of position, and that helped cause the foul. I think they're just going to reset where it was and really kind of cancel each other out.
You know, the officials have their own locker room down below where they all get together prior to the game and talk how they're going to officiate things.
You can't put them with either team. You don't need to know what they're
right
doing.
Between both of them, I'll tell you that much. I was down there not paying a visit to the officials prior to the game. I'd like to leave them anonymous. Let them just do their job. This is McDonald. Cooper. Stevens. He's had a difficult task today, hasn't he, covering Kolick?
Yeah, he's wound up on that matchup, which was not projected.
There's a huck downfield. The D-line trying to cash in for the Whitecaps, and they can't. That was Hatchett going high. There was some contact. What will the officials rule here? I think it's going to go against DC.
Let's take a look again. Here's the huck. You see Kolick lined up on Hatchett. Ong then comes in. And I think Jack's claiming that Kolick whacked his arm and pulled it back. And now it's just going to result in Boston getting the disc back.
I don't know how official the Hormel Stadium clock is because the clock was ticking down during that discussion. In for the score, Stevens. And the Whitecaps have one on the board, the first score in the second half to make it 12-7.
Big break there for Boston. So, again, refs kind of helping out Boston right there. Right call. Hatchett got his arm whacked. He got it pulled back. He was making a play on the disc. And then easy swing around into Cooper's hands, and he finds a cutting Stevens.
I mean, how many possessions have we had? I think they let that clock run in error for quite some time there, Jeff. 7:42 remaining in the quarter. In the entire discussion.
That was the first point of this second half, so either just a long point. I mean, DC started off with it. Well, you might be right. We'll see if they adjust the clock.
Yeah, because I watched the clock tick.
You know more than me, Don.
I just started ticking on down.
You have a better angle. For those at home, they can't tell. We have a white board
Listen,
in the box here.
Boston's a home team, right?
That's right.
Wasn't there an issue with some air conditioning problems in the NBA Finals, Game 1?
That's true.
In favor of the home team. This one does not favor the home team. They need time.
They need the time, exactly.
Right. So what's going on there, clock keeper? We got to let the people know about just about everything that takes place. That's our duty, our job. This is Doy controlling. Wodach. Kolik. Kolik, unique player out there. Recognize him immediately. Huh? He's got his own style going on.
He's a good face for the league, too.
Yeah, he really is. Kolik up ahead. This is Lloyd Blake. Wodach smartly got back for the dump. Oh, look at that. Wide open again. Can he make the catch? That is a catch by Sean Keegan. How do you do with the left hand and the friction gloves?
What a sliding grab. Wow. Well, Boston felt good getting a break there to start. Here's a replay of it again. Pryal involved one more time. Why not? Keegan goes down low, sliding, reaches out with the left hand. Beautiful grab and a nice little headbutt to the disc
like
to celebrate.
That. Probably took karate as a kid. Those in of a pulsar disc. Not as hard, I think, as a piece of wood. Maybe. Maybe. So we'll get the pull from right to left. Sun starting to settle here in Medford, Massachusetts. Here at Hormel Stadium. Just a beautiful night. You can feel summer.
Finally.
In the greater Boston area. And you're right, finally. Malachek. And we'll get a whistle. Downfield, had a little altercation. It was Cantor with the arms raised. So there you go, a 10-yard infraction against DC.
And you can tell Malachek's looking for that huck, too, because Boston knows they got to score quick.
Graham for Cricket.
Ooh,
nice one-handed catch by Marquette. And down the field, and they'll cash in Brian Zid.
That was close. You know, Josh Cricket, Marquette, he's not the biggest guy out there, so doesn't elevate the disc sometimes. It's kind of like a line drive put, and you get a DC defender there, might have been able to reach out and grab it, but just enough.
First goal of the day for Brian Zid. Take a good look at number 3 down below for the Whitecaps. Got all that grease under his eyes there.
Here it is again. Graham got a nice put. Really, Crickett's catch is the moment of that. But look how low that is. If DC has one more step on it, that's an easy D. But it results in a Boston goal.
So
Zid.
it's 13-8.
Elder statesman for Boston, Brian Zid.
Good look at Teddy Brower-Jarvis. The pull master for the Whitecaps. You can rent him for backyard parties and fun with the kids, right?
Yes.
I could say it straight.
The pull master. I don't know if Teddy has a nickname. You could just give him that one. Pull master Jarvis.
He deserves one.
Why not? They all do.
That's right. I always wanted a nickname, got one later in life, and I don't share it with anybody. Wodach up ahead. It goes to Sean Keegan. And he'll float along to Kolik. Kolik's going to dash one down the sideline, and Mr. Pryal will reach up and make the catch.
Easy. DC has an answer for everything Boston throws out there. This was maybe 3 throws, or 4. That third one getting to Kolik the fourth to Pryal. No one's keeping up with them either. Boston is a step behind the whole way.
Comes at 4:51. All right, we'll take a quick break, and we'll come on back, and a special guest is going to come on into the booth here, and you'll hear his voice and understand who it is in just a moment right here at MLU Live.
Jeff Snyder here, Commissioner of Major League Ultimate. 15 years ago, I got out of the Marine Corps, played my first ever game of Ultimate Frisbee with my brother. And now, I find myself immersed in one of the...
Welcome right back here to Hormel Stadium. Nick Darling joining us in the booth here. We'll talk a little bit about the upcoming championship game, the final weeks of the MLU. Another year quickly moving on by. Kind of a surprise score here at 14-8. DC on the road at Boston with a lead there, Nick.
Yeah, you always wonder if a team is going to be able to get off the bus after a ride like that, coming all the way up from D.C. this morning. And obviously they've answered that question so far. Oh, my.
That's a long huck intended for Graham. Chasing, and catching for the score.
Malachek, he can put it, can he not?
Hasn't done it too much today. That defense has been too aggressive for the D.C. Current. We just saw Jeff, of course, talking about the upcoming championship games. We'll take another look at this and that nice throw by Malachek down the field. And Mr. Graham, that's vintage Graham right there, too, isn't it? Just going all alone.
Setting that cut up, and he's gone.
Over the next couple of weeks, it's preparation for the upcoming playoffs and then championship game. What's going on in the big office?
Oh, man, I mean, I have to tell you, I'm just so excited about the championship game. We're going to be at PPL Park in Philadelphia on July 19th. You're going to be there, of course, calling the game. It's a great stadium, brand new, 5 years old. Seats 18,000, so let's just fill that up.
I can bring some friends.
You can bring some friends, get some friends in there.
Absolutely.
And yeah, everybody should get out there, check it out. We at MLUchampionship.com. You can take a look and you can see all the ticket options we have, some of the amenities from the field, that kind of thing.
Yeah, the amenities are outstanding, right? I mean, and they're going to open up all the amenities.
All the amenities,
yeah.
Concessions. They have a nice list of craft beer, and we have luxury boxes. It's the whole thing.
Well, they leave that bar open after the game so we can enjoy it. There's a long huck, and Wodatch will move downfield to make the catch. Another score for D.C.
These guys are coming so fast and furious here today, it's hard to have a conversation.
Really?
It would be a little more polite if they would pass the disc around a little bit and let us talk, you know.
Yes,
what a throw here from Schaffner, though. And that's what he does best.
Absolutely.
What are his nicknames? Schaffner, Markham the Marksman Schaffner?
That's right.
Or the Ginger Cannon?
I haven't seen the hammer throw from him today yet,
I haven't seen it yet today.
When's that going to come our way? 5:30 remaining here in the third quarter. And, well, Nick, you know, you talked about the preparations, the website where you can pick up tickets. Are there going to be flight deals put together, too, or hotel deals at all? You guys working on stuff like that?
We are actually working on some hotel deals,
Yeah.
so we'll hopefully be announcing those soon. And then there'll also, of course, be a lot of amenities around the game. I mean, you're in Philly, for one,
Right.
so come up for the
It's
weekend.
it's a great city.
Great food,
Absolutely.
great beverage. And then we're going to have a clinic for kids before the game. We're going to have a hat tournament for the older crowd that wants to get involved and play a little. So you'll be able to play that during the day and then come out to the championship game.
Why are
at
you
night.
looking at me when you say that?
You know. when it comes to getting out and playing Ultimate, I think we may be the same age.
Right, exactly. I'll tell you the one thing about Philadelphia, which is so great. I've had a chance to take my wife and little one to a couple of the games in Philadelphia, to the games in Boston, haven't been down to D.C. with the guys, with them, or New York with them, but Philadelphia and Boston here, and they want to come back time and time again. It's outstanding. Look at that. Will he get it? No, over the back edge. Oh, Mr. Graham nearly with a nifty one. But just you mentioned the cities that all these teams play in on both coasts. It's outstanding.
It's very exciting, and I'm really looking forward to. We don't get to do enough right now. We play all in conference, so that's why the championship game is so exciting. It's the first time we get to see the best in the East match up against the best in the West, and it's going to be a great time.
How surprised, because I am not surprised, that D.C. is starting to run away with the Eastern Conference as this season continues into its final third here.
Yeah, I mean, we saw them in the beginning of the year. They were so athletic, such a strong team, such a fast team, tall. I think what they lacked was a bit of organization and a bit of that coaching work that we didn't see so much in season one. And, you know, Kevin Moldenhauer stepping back from any kind of playing role, really focusing in and working with Smolinski on putting together a real strategy. We see it at work out here. We see a team that has taken their raw abilities and really transformed them into a machine that's just winning games now.
I would imagine it must be very difficult to be a player coach at any level.
I can't imagine.
And to be able to do that.
I couldn't even be a captain when I played any sports that I played. I was much too self-involved.
Yeah, you're right. It takes a lot of responsibility. This is the current in control, up by 6, trying to increase that lead here in the third quarter. And they'll dip one in for a nice athletic catch down low, and more points up on the board. That looked like it was Grabowski on the receiving, and I couldn't find the number on the far side.
No, that's number 20, actually.
Glenn
That's
Poole.
Glenn
Yep.
Poole, which
Nice
I believe
play.
that may be his first point out here for D.C. Glenn Poole, very active on Twitter. If you spend any time on Twitter, I don't know if you do, Don.
No, I try to stay away.
But a very active
My lawyer
tweeter.
suggested that.
That's why you hire lawyers. They're
That's
wise
right.
men.
Yeah, right. That is a first goal for Poole. Didn't even recognize he was out there. So DC getting everybody involved like they did a week ago, and certainly this team is well put together. Been very impressed. It's my first time watching them play all year. I haven't seen them play.
True.
Yeah,
That's
I
true.
haven't watched them play.
Your coverage is not lined up with them yet. Well, you know, if they keep playing the way they're playing now, you're likely to see them again.
Yeah,
so.
absolutely. Good look at that, Jeff Graham. And Nick, any final words before I let you go? Anything that you want to let the folks know about out there?
I mean, I just have to repeat myself again because I feel like I'm on tour for this championship game now. You know, when
are.
an actor gets out and
You
sits down
are.
and has to talk. But really, I think it's going to be a fantastic game. It's going to be a great showcase of the sport. The coverage, the stadium, everything's beautiful. So come on out, MLUchampionship.com. Get your tickets, and we'll see you out there.
July 19th.
July 19th.
Can I come to town on the 17th and enjoy?
I don't know why you wouldn't.
All right. Nick, thanks for joining us.
Thanks
buddy.
very much, Tom.
Nick Darling joining us, of course, and certainly doing a great job amongst the leaders of the MLU. Is my buddy Jeff Poster back in. 3:25 remaining in the quarter. 16-9. DC on top of Boston. That is right, folks.
Yeah.
A 7-goal lead. Amazing.
I thought we were at least going to get a bit of a shootout here.
Cooper, far side. Look at that tight man-to-man defense. It continues for the Current. Boston has really struggled to get a player beyond the final defender all game long.
Well, as soon as they make their cut, DC drops a guy to help out back, and Boston's not taking advantage of the open man who's poached.
Look at Graham with a great fake, and he was forced to throw a 3-yard pass to Cooper, but he got it back to Graham for the score. But usually that fake will open something up downfield for Graham.
Right. Jeff does such a nice job the way he moves without the disc. That's why he's their lead cutter.
I was talking to Nick, and I messed up my scoring. I got to concentrate when you're talking to one of the bosses, you know.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, it's like you're very nervous talking to
They
Nick.
get your full attention.
I tell you what, he's all excited. Jeff Snyder, all excited. We're all excited. I think everybody associated with the MLU about the championship game in beautiful Philadelphia, Pennsylvania on July 19th in the PPL Park. Just a gorgeous location. I don't know if you've been there.
I have not, but I'm looking forward to it. It should be a blast.
I really encourage making it a family trip. If you're a fan of the MLU and you're going to go, bring your family with you. There is so much to do. What a beautiful city. A lot of history, of course.
I got a little mini tour of Philadelphia last weekend.
Some great
I'd
restaurants.
Like to see it a little bit more, though.
Have one of those Philly cheesesteaks.
I didn't get a chance.
I've been to
I
3
need
different locations now, and I'm going to save the award for the best cheesesteak until championship Saturday. That's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to talk about it.
How are folks going to know which one to go to beforehand?
Next week's telecast, we'll give out the 3 candidates.
Don Boyle's Philly cheesesteak.
Well, it looks like I eat a few of them.
Oh, no.
So 16-10, DC in control. Doy with the disc up ahead, and oh, look at that
Oh,
catch.
wow.
That's strength by Keegan, and Keegan got banged up. He got twirled around and really caught that in dangerous position, of course. Prowl over immediately to make sure he's all right. I hope he didn't hit his head.
That's
Looks
what
like
he's
he's holding
holding.
the back of his head there.
Take a look again. See them trying to work around McDonald, and then Jack Hatchett, he initially makes the D on it. He's slowed down. See, it's both of them tie to it, and then as Keegan pulls it away, I'm not sure, maybe he just kind of hit the back of his head as he went down to the ground, but
Fell hard on his back, too. He's sitting up, and that's okay. With the injury timeout down below, why don't we just step aside for a moment? Before we do that, can I just tell folks about spike ball? I need to do that. Want to know what Ultimate players do when they're not on the field? They play spike ball. It's a little bit like volleyball, all right? A little bit like Foursquare, no idea what it is, and a whole lot of awesomeness. Get $10 off the normal retail online using promo code MLUROCK1 at spikeball.com. So there you go. We'll guess keep it right here right now because it looks like coming on over Mr. Keegan, and he's going to be okay. So that's good news. Well attended to out in the field.
he's laughing.
Yeah.
He feels good.
Well, he made a great catch.
He did.
catch of strength because Mr. Hatchet is a defensive demon out there for the Whitecaps.
Jack Hatchett, second in the league in defensive efficiency coming into this one, I believe right behind Joe Anderson.
My boy Joe for the New York Rumble. That's a different team when he's out of the lineup for the Rumble, that's for sure. Up ahead, and did he get in for the score? They really did.
Wow.
A little feathery
That's
pass
close.
on the far side. You're right. Looked like he was coming back out of the end zone. But more points up on the board as Schaffner makes the catch. He looks like a young guy, doesn't he?
He is a young guy. That's a big difference, too. DC's a pretty young team. Take a look again. Kolick, who else? He goes to it looked like he was going to Pryl. And then Schaffner comes out of nowhere like he did on that play in the first half where he bailed out one of his guys and made that big clapping grab. So
they need to investigate what he's doing out there because he's coming from out of nowhere. I don't know if he's wearing a special cape or he's invisible.
He's sneaking around.
Opposition. What's going on? Good look at Danny Clark, Jeff Graham, Rebholz, Zid, Malachek. Those are all outstanding ultimate names, but today
having a tough go at it.
Yeah.
We still have a one whole quarter, though.
Farnsworth, pressure. And here we go. See if they can get something going here. Whitecaps trying to solve this defense of DC. You know, you look at the 17 points and you go, wow, the current O-line playing terrific. They haven't had to really do too much today. I mean, they obviously contributed, but this defense has done the job.
And Boston's defense hasn't done much of anything. They've scored a couple of points, but, you know, during that interview with Nick that you were doing, Don, I got a chance to talk to Dusty Rhodes, who's sitting right down in front of us, one of our MLU analysts and bloggers, and he made a good point to me. This game might be decided. That long point we saw in the second quarter that took 3 timeouts, basically, to get through. Boston could have been, I believe, a 6-4 game instead of 9-5 or whatever it ended up being. That might have been a big turning point for them.
Belichick trying to fit one down to, Graham, and what a throw. Nice catch, but that throw was spectacular, wasn't it?
It was. That's what these two do. Malachek puts up the nice throw. Jeff makes the nice catch. A dynamic duo.
I think Jeff showboated that one a little bit. He was that wide open, but look at this throw around the mark.
Taking
that
a look,
was incredible.
Yeah. Malachek gets so low. He's able to get so down low to his knees and elevate, and Jeff got really wide open there and kind of fell down with it, and I don't know if that was necessary, like you said, but made the catch all the same. But you're right. Malachek, his ability to get down like that to make a throw is just really tremendous.
I'm not giving Jeff Graham style points for that. I am sorry. None. Up here in the booth.
No style points for Jeff Graham.
Got to do better than that, Jeff.
His one in the first half. That was a little nice.
Yes, absolutely. Under a minute remaining here in the third, 17-11. It was a 6-point differential at halftime. It remains the same here in the third. Fans certainly enjoying the action, however, still seeing high skill level by both these teams and a lot of youngsters in attendance. You were calling a high school game earlier today. Why don't you talk a little bit about the talent that was down in the field?
We had it's the Ultimate Showcase Series here for 2014. We had the D2/3 and D1 All-Star games. D2 and 3 were one game, D1 and separate game. That fall right before our Whitecaps current game. And it was a good time. Maybe we saw some future MLU players. I don't know yet.
I think I saw a couple of folks make some great catches on
they
great
definitely
long
did.
throws. Yeah,
definitely did.
Pryl scores yet again. Schaffner, I believe, made the feed as he feathered it on in. Now a 7-goal differential with 23 seconds remaining in the quarter. Mr. Pryl likes coming back home to the Boston area. Huh? He's having himself a whale of a game today.
Well, he had a blast here last year. He's still having a blast. It's funny. Peter wasn't here for that first game. I like to call him, he's the only undefeated player in the MLU through 2 seasons still as of this moment. So I think he's just had a blast the whole time he's been in the league.
We're talking about Pryl, back in the first half, and is he the difference maker, adding some continuity to this DC current team down in the field? How is Boston changed without Prowl in the line?
Well, it's funny because Boston really felt confident going into the season that they had even improved from last year despite losing Prowl, Misha Horowitz, another player gone that was big on their O-line. A couple other smaller-time guys, but they brought in guys like Rebels and Brescher, Jimmy and Christian Foster. Nixon, a big player as well. They thought they had improved even more so. They've had some tough go at it on the road with injuries this season as well as just players being inactive. Lee Farnsworth, another guy, but...
Yeah, they really haven't had their entire complement. Taylor, that's going to be intercepted. He tried to fit one in, and that's going to do it for the third quarter. We're through 3. It's all D.C. They lead it 18-11 over the Whitecaps. Back with the fourth quarter, you're watching MLU Live.
With the playoffs rapidly approaching, the top 2 teams jockey for position. The Surgical Stags, led by Eli Freeman, travel north to take on Donnie Clark and the most potent offense in the West. Come out and bring the family as Portland takes on Seattle for first place heading into the home stretch. Renton Memorial Stadium, June 14th at 7 p.m.
Jeff Snyder here, Commissioner of Major League Ultimate. 15 years ago, I got out of the Marine Corps, played my first ever game of Ultimate Frisbee with my brother. And now, I find myself immersed in one of the fastest growing team sports in the nation. And here, at beautiful PPL Park in Philadelphia, on July 19th at 6:30 p.m., the largest showcase of our sport will happen with the MLU Championship game. You can get all tickets and information at MLUchampionship.com to see the best in the world. I'll see you there.
Choose your side. I'm going to root for a West Coast team during the championship game. Haven't seen them play. Oh, yeah. I'm only kidding. I'm not going to root for anybody. I enjoy it all. I tell you what, it's been a great year, too, for the MLU. And really, it's been nice to be a part of it with all year long, Jeff, with you and Tony Leonardo and the whole gang behind the scenes here. Great work. A lot of good things happening. Bright future for the MLU. Good look at that team with a bright future over the next few weeks, I got a feeling. It's like D.C. in control, really, of their own destiny all the way to the championship game if they continue to play this way. They have been impressive, very impressive today. They do not take the foot off the pedal.
And you can tell they feel it. They're so excited. They were excited to get here. Didn't matter how long they had to ride the bus up here. They wanted to get here. They wanted to come up here and win. They were the first team to defeat Boston altogether, and it's looking like they're going to be the first team to defeat Boston at home.
Good look at Ben Fleming, a little banged up wrist, but he is playing today for the Current. Such a thing as staying in game shape. You know, even if you can't contribute at your highest level, and game gets to this point, get out there and compete at game speed, keeps you a little bit sharper.
You got to be ready to go. Even if you're injured, you never know. You're going to heal up. You can't have just been sitting around waiting to heal.
Robert Dulabon on the pull. Another outstanding player. Haven't called his name all that often today, but boy, I tell you, he's high quality.
And talk about both these teams feature big-time depth in their both lines, O and D.
1 quarter to go. Can Boston make a miraculous comeback against the Current here today?
It would be miraculous. Down 7.
They do have quick strike ability, but I don't know if it's there today against this defense. Looks like D.C. Very content to have people lag behind a little bit and not allow for that quick strike. This is Foster, had a magnificent catch in the first half. Taylor, Foster, where's number 17? That's pressure with it now with number 7. Rebholz, number 4 to control. Danny Clark. Farnsworth. Farnsworth got banged up a little early and really kind of took him out of his game. I think he's just starting to feel a little bit better, Jeff. You get a whistle and a timeout call. You could hear the screech, timeout. And I believe it came from the Boston sideline. I think that came from the D.C. sideline, but they're not in possession. I thought it came to our
referee
right.
timeout, maybe? Is the clock wrong?
I know they had clock problems in the third quarter that went unnoticed.
That's going to be tough for Boston. They just had a really nice momentum moving the disc up the field. Let's see if it breaks it up at all.
Marquette fakes the hammer. And he'll loft it in, and they
Didn't
get
seem
the
to.
goal to the near side. So nice work by Mr. Taylor. Jacob with the catch. It didn't bother him.
Not at all. I haven't seen Jake Taylor too much tonight. He's another guy that's missed a couple of games here for Boston. But they had great momentum swinging up the ball. Jake Taylor
hero.
fan.
0-0.
Take a look again. Marquette has the easy job right there. Just Taylor had the tough one of beating Cobb down the field. But really, that Boston offense, that's what Boston's O-line has looked like for most of the season at home. That last point, moving the disc up quick, not taking too high of the stall count, just making quick cuts.
Takes them 45 seconds to tally a point. Cut that lead down to 6. They need a takeaway. They have not had many takeaways today, whether cleanly or badly played by D.C.
No, DC's been very clean, and I mean, when you got a guy like Kolek leading your offensive line, you're going to be clean because the guy doesn't throw it away too much.
There's the pull going out of bounds. Look at Boston hustling down, trying to be aggressive. They do play with pride. They are probably a little bit upset that they're down by 6 with just above 9 minutes remaining in this contest. I don't know if they have enough time. This is Blake Pryle.
Look how fast DC just moved up the field. Already within striking distance.
That's right. And we get a whistle as they play it on back and a stall count. That's the first stall against D.C. here tonight.
Opportunity here for the Whitecaps. Got to capitalize on this. Let's see if their D-line can punch one in. They did earlier.
Cooper turning into a nice player. Stevens to the near side has a goal here today. Let's see what Teddy can do. You like to call him Teddy, affectionately, of course. Christian Foster now along the sideline. We're going to have to hammer one. Nice play by Montgomery Butler to get to that. Montgomery Butler again. Cooper looking deep, and he's going to hammer one. Can he get it there? No, they're going to turn it right back. Christian Foster, no chance to get it. That just never turned on the throw.
And it dropped right at that last second. It was a nice cut in the back of the end zone by Foster. He was all alone if you could get it to him there, but Cooper's hammer a little too low.
Here's the problem, too. When you're on that D-line, you turn it over, you're giving it right back to that
the O-line.
The Kolek and company. So you got to cash in.
Got to cash in and try and tire the O-line out a little bit by making them play defense.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that dump and swing to set up the long throw today by Boston.
No, not so much.
Yeah.
I haven't had any luck with it.
Yeah.
I tried it a couple times earlier, and D.C. knocked it away. I think we got a timeout.
We do. With 7:39 remaining in the quarter, we're going to take a timeout. Just want to mention Friction Gloves, the official glove provider of the MLU. These all-weather gloves are especially designed for the ultimate players out there, combining the tackiness of the receiver gloves with a rubberized grip for better catches and throws. All these guys making great catches out there. You know they're wearing Friction Gloves. Check them out, frictiongloves.com. We'll take a break, back with more after this.
Come on out and bring the family when the Boston Whitecaps come to Sweeney Field at St. Joe's University to take on the Philadelphia Spinners. Go to spinnerstix.com and grab a 4-pack for just $44. Join us for games, prizes, and ultimate fun for the whole family. June 15th at 2 p.m. Tickets are on sale now.
We'll be in beautiful Philadelphia, Pennsylvania next week for East Coast action of the MLU in the city of brotherly love, and of course at beautiful St. Joseph's University. Outstanding campus, wonderful facility. They put on a great show to the Spinners, and get a chance to watch them play next week.
Spinners held their own for a little while with D.C. last weekend. They got those reinforcements from Pitt finally. Those 4 or 5 guys finally made their debuts. They were effective for a while, but then DC, just too much.
Philadelphia lost to DC at home just by 1. This is Pryl. Out of the timeout, 7:25 left. That timeout allowed Boston to put some of their O-line players, looks like, on the field. You see Graham out there at least right now. You see Roth out there. Roth has not had much playing time here today. I don't know if he's a little bit banged up or not, but he's a feisty player and really the type of game that might be designed for his skill set.
He was one of the guys coming in at the beginning of the season that Sam Rosenthal really liked. He was playing really well in the preseason for them. It seemed like his minutes were going to be up a bit from last season.
Another whistle. Kolek downfield arguing that perhaps he was offended with.
That's an offensive foul.
Yeah.
Or a travel. Whitecaps have that hybrid line out there, both offense and defensive players. This is going to be tough.
Yeah. And Schaffner, can he make the catch? No, it's going to be intercepted on the far side, and Whitecaps will get it back. Here's that floated out of bounds. Nice work there on the far side. No, wait a second. There might be an infraction. Call's coming back. So Simmons made a beautiful play, but the Current will get it right.
Fans don't like it.
They're disgruntled. 6:14. Ticking on down here in the fourth. There's that long huck again.
This one
Current love this. Look at that. That's going to be caught. That was just well done. And a score. Are we going to get some celebration for Mr. Pyle?
They said
Can he say he traveled in, right?
He ran in. That's what they're going to say.
And there's the catch
for
score. Absolutely. Keegan on the receiving end. He's got a couple of goals today. Looked like taking something up into the face. Maybe a leg was Robin Myers as he went for the steal on the intercept.
Robin's been banged up this year. That's the last thing he wants. They got Sean Keegan on top of him.
Making sure he's all right.
Here's a look at this one again. At least see if Pryl actually ran in. He was in.
I thought he was in.
I thought he was in too.
Yeah.
I mean, they got it regardless, but
a little more difficult.
Well, yeah, they made Keegan work for that one. I think Pryl was in to begin with.
So DC on top by 7 now at 19-12 with 5:51 remaining here in the fourth quarter. And I think for the Whitecaps, they're going to win. Is this one going to end?
Yeah, they're having a tough time. They still have both their timeouts here with under 6 minutes left to go. But 7 points or 7 scores, that's tough to make up in any situation.
Jeff, I can guarantee it's not happening.
I think you're right, Don.
Not today. Not against this team.
I think you are right. DC has just become the premier team of the East here.
They really have. And this is their signature win on the road here, where nobody has ever beaten Boston before.
No. So. They hadn't lost, but then they did, and they still at least had their claim to fame, that you couldn't take us in our own turf.
This is Zid. Rebholes. Look at that defense, still tight. Malachek. Rebholz. Up ahead.
Nice grab.
Yeah. Cricket, Marquette. The control just half yard away from pay dirt, and they're forced to play it on back because that defense hustled into position for the Current again. All game long, they have done that. Look at that. They forced them 22 yards out, and Clark couldn't handle the pass, and they turn it over.
Danny's a long guy. Making him go down low like that can't be easy.
David Cranston had the coverage on him. Now Cranston's pass up ahead. Nice one-handed catch here by Bellinger. That was sweet, wasn't it?
Yeah, sliding on the knees. Mm-hmm. Might have gotten a little bit of turf burn on that one.
I think he's got those knees protected.
That's smart. I have not done that in the past.
Well, I highly advise doing that.
Need to make an investment.
Whoops. Oh. There's an errant throw. Someone broke the wrong way.
No one knew it was coming.
No. It might have been intended for Eddie Peters, and Boston will call a timeout, probably to change things up a little bit. 4:34 remaining. We'll take a break. 19-12. DC Current with the lead over Boston.
Jeff Snyder here, Commissioner of Major League Ultimate. 15 years ago, I got out of the Marine Corps, played my first ever game of Ultimate Frisbee with my brother. And now, I find myself immersed in one of the fastest growing team sports in the nation. And here, at beautiful PPL Park in Philadelphia, on July 19th at 6:30 p.m., the largest showcase of our sport will happen with the MLU Championship game. You can get all tickets and information at MOUchampionship.com to see the best in the world. I'll see you there.
All right, welcome right back here. 4:34 remaining. Whoa, that disc nearly came in to the window. If it does, can I keep it as a souvenir? They're throwing disc up in the crowd.
Be your first catch, right, Don?
Absolutely. This year.
This year.
All right, Whitecaps showing some defense really for the first time. Rebholz knocks one down. That's probably the third time the current has turned one over here today. I'm being a little bit facetious, but it's been that few.
Feels like it.
Yep. Clark.
You're not far off.
Marquette.
It's taking too much time.
Up ahead, Foster. Remember that name. He's going to be a real good one as his career moves along for Jimmy Foster. He's been kind of fun to watch out there. Has that magnificent catch, really the catch of the day in the first half.
Yeah, for Boston.
Yeah.
DC's had a highlight reel that if you had to narrow it down to just a few, it'd be tough to do.
And did he get inside the pylon? No, he didn't, did Marquette. And now they'll move it down the sideline. Rebholz on the receiving end, and he'll score.
Cricket had to force that one.
Well, it's back down to a 6-goal game with 3:37 left.
Yeah, Matt Rebholz, he's been one of Boston's primary handlers, a lead handler here for their O-line and on the receiving end this time. But that's a tough put there for Marquette, stuck on the corner like that.
So on number 9, Jeremy Nixon has not played here today. Really wasn't expected to. We were talking during one of the breaks, maybe one of the future stars of the MLU. He's that good out of Harvard.
Yeah, Jeremy Nixon. If you talk about teams, lead players passing the torch someday, I could see as the league continues to grow here. Perhaps Jeff Graham being kind of the face for Boston, could see him metaphorically passing the torch to Jeremy Nixon someday, a young star.
This is the current, the control with about 3.5 remaining here. And they lead at 19-13, so the Whitecaps turn a turnover into point. Scooby, did he get it?
He did. Wow.
Tell you what, they nearly turned it over. Kind of a dangerous pass. That was a little bit wobbly, wasn't it?
Well, just a tad.
Keegan to the near side.
You can see Boston's defenses finally seem to show up.
Yeah, a little late, however.
A little late, yeah.
Kolek with a low throw. Tell you, how many catches have they made off the carpet today? That was Prime. Show some nice touch. Keegan. Oh, look at that defense.
There it is.
They're coming up with it all of a sudden as Christian Foster with the layout D.
And Foster took off right away, hoping for a hook just to capitalize that quick.
Here's Teddy Brower-Jarvis on the far side. He's going to have to hurry it up. They've been quick with their stall counts on a couple of occasions here. Each team has been called for one. Montgomery Butler. These guys are having some fun now throwing the disc around finally, and look at that. It pays off in dividends with Tommy Cooper on the receiving end for the score for the Whitecaps.
So finally, Boston gets their defense. Take a look at replay again. Here's the defense from Christian Foster. Finally, a big layout D against Ong. Knocks it away. And I like this throw from Teddy. Left-handed, kind of a lazy. Here you go. This is easy when you're that wide open. Well, they got it to 5.
Good look at the feisty Sean Keegan.
Let's see how respectable Boston can at least make it.
Yeah.
Goal differential does come into play, though. I mean, it'll be interesting to see because in the East, technically New York and Philly's still in it. So if Boston doesn't have a good finish to the season with their final 2 weeks, they might need to rely on that goal differential. That they actually have had some success with that this season. They led the league at plus 33 coming into this game with just those 3 one-goal losses, but
just got to play on the far side. Yeah, they got to play, at Philly, at New York, hand it out.
And both teams have beaten them. Here's the double team. That's what they need to do.
Of course, D.C. will play both Philadelphia and New York themselves. own right, and that's just too easy down the field. They score yet another. Wodach on the receiving end. There's your locomotive.
The locomotive. You didn't have to locomotive for that one. He was right there waiting for it.
He was just fueling up.
Here it is again. This is always the danger with the double team. Somebody else is open,
How about
and right
Keegan's
there.
play today?
It's been good, and he was not one of the guys. Keegan's a name that DC has to throw at you, part of their depth, but usually, you talk about Kolek, Schaffner, Pryl, Wodach to an extent.
I think that was a great example of the DC sideline play today. Has been outstanding.
It has,
hasn't it?
I think they like playing down the sidelines, which is kind of a way to go against the traditional way of thinking for Ultimate. You try and keep it off the sideline because it's harder. You don't have as much space to work with. You try and swing it back into the middle, go from side to side. But DC loves making those upline cuts along the edge there.
Of course, very confident with their handlers, the guys that will pass that disc and the guys that will catch it on the receiving end, find those good angles. 20-14, you scored just above 2 left here in the fourth on a beautiful night in Greater Boston. There's a little hammer.
DC
up
trying
ahead.
to close it out with the zone defense.
Marquette, near side Zid. Now we're starting to see a little zestiness, a little spice out of the Whitecaps as they score. Well, you know what? That's the way you're going to have to beat this DC team. Play at their speed, and Foster just did along with his teammates, and they catch him with a goal. That's the fastest they played all game.
Yeah, DC throws a zone at Boston. You see that cup come in right away to start things off. Boston beats it easily, and they move quick up the field. That was been their MO, especially last season and their other home games this year. They move the disc quick, get rid of it quick. That's when you had that guy, too, Peter Pryl. Take a look again. They break the zone right here with Malachek's hammer, and then it's just easy moving the disc up. No one's around any player. And look, Foster's just standing there.
20-15, under 2 minutes left. You mentioned a key point, however, that DC went to that zone defense versus that tenacious man-to-man defense with a little bit of flex in the back end of it all.
Yeah, their man defense has been tremendous today. They've been so many layout knockaways for D's for Boston.
Now, DC playing fast as they love to play and quickly moving it back into scoring position.
Again, another upline
Schaffner.
cut
Yep.
by Schaffner along the edge there.
They love that edge. Now they go across the field and they score. So that's what they do here. They allow you to sleep along the sideline, and then they pitch one in for the goal, and that time Grabowski on the receiving end. I knew he'd score one. I misidentified him earlier.
Paul Grabowski on the end of that one.
That's number 80 in your scorebook. Glenn Poole, number 20, got one earlier today for the DC Current.
Yeah, just kind of the story of the day for the Boston defense is not being able to keep up with DC's O-line. Here it is again. This is the fast moving. Look at Schaffner. He immediately finds the open space along the sideline. No one's there. And Grabowski is Brauer Jairus
That's right.
is the closest guy, and he's 5 feet away from him.
So the Current make it a 6-goal game again. They led after one quarter by 3, at the half by 6, and they really have never looked back. And Boston hasn't put up much of a threat at all. Malachek to control. Rebholz, offense trying to find some rhythm with Taylor. And they play it up the middle of Clark. Not seeing that little dump and swing. Really being forced into trying to play that disc in the middle, which has not been to an advantage today.
No, not at all.
Well, a short pass ahead. Now it's sent down
That's
and
a
too
little
far
too
for
much.
Rebholz. I should say for Cricket Marquette, and it's out of play.
A little too much zip on that one.
Kind of exemplifies the story of the day.
That's funny, too. We talked about this in our last break. Is Boston coming off that record win last week in New York, and you think they might ride that momentum a little bit? Complete opposite.
Well, remember, they're coming off a bye week.
That's
so it's
true.
Essentially
That's
2
true.
weeks ago. So, that mystique starts to fade away. And, we're talking about guys getting in for a few minutes despite playing with some injury, maybe for DC and, of course, for the Whitecaps, too. That week off can hurt you a little bit.
Lose your momentum.
Yeah, get a little flat maybe. not using that as an excuse because DC earned this today, and they set the tone early on.
They have played almost flawlessly.
They really have. Defense in the first half was the most stifling defense I have witnessed in a couple of years of following the sport here in the MLU. That was just terrific defense. It was led by a halftime guest, Dominique Gibson, who we haven't seen much of here in the second half.
No, he hasn't been doing as much. He's out there right now. I see him there in the end zone. But
maybe they're keeping the disc away from him. What we're talking about is the NFL defensive back qualities out there. So
exactly.
Why go to the shutdown guy, right? The other guy we haven't talked too much about is Delrico Johnson here in the second half.
Yeah, he had a nice first half. A couple of Ds, a couple of assists. Oh.
Yeah. Also Cobb is another guy we haven't spoken of too much here in the second half. And Farnsworth, he got it.
Wow.
For the score.
I thought he was going to go out of bounds.
Now, there's a guy on my team. There's a big guy that really has a great understanding of the game, and as he matures, he's going to be a good one.
Now, on this replay, we didn't see the throw right before that catch by Foster, but I think Malachek was having some fun with the game well in hand with 9 seconds left, but I love the little air bounce throw from Malachek. But Farnsworth, kind of another big up-and-coming name here in the world of Ultimate.
You know, you got Kolick and the great passer, Schaffner with that hammer, noted for that and some of his great hucks downfield. But Malachek might be the most creative passer of
He's
them
smart.
all. Huh?
He's really smart. That's the thing. And he's cocky, too. That's the other thing. He's not afraid to throw anything in his arsenal at you. He likes to huck it. You know, I talked to him before. Last summer, I guess, at the Club Nationals tournament, he hurt his hand and couldn't huck it as much. And from what I understand, it kind of grounded him a little bit. He started to find other ways to move the disc effectively. And now teams, they think he's going to do it because he's known for it, but he's smarter about it and make those smaller throws.
Well, 21-16 is going to be your final score and tip your cap to the D.C. Current. They have done something others have not been able to do out of the Eastern Conference in the name of Philadelphia and New York. Beat the Whitecaps at home. They win again, and now they dominate the conference standings as they win their 7th game of the year, 5th in a row, by the score of 21-16 over the Boston Whitecaps. We'll take just a quick break, come back with our recap, and put a lid on this one from beautiful Medford, Massachusetts, right after this.
Jeff Snyder here, Commissioner of Major League Ultimate. 15 years ago, I got out of the Marine Corps, played my first ever game of Ultimate Frisbee with my brother. And now, I find myself immersed in one of the fastest growing team sports in the nation. And here, at beautiful PPL Park in Philadelphia, on July 19th at 6:30 p.m., the largest showcase of our sport will happen with the MLU Championship game. You can get all tickets and information at MLUchampionship.com to see the best in the world. I'll see you there.
Come on out and bring the family when the Boston Whitecaps come to Sweeney Field at St. Joe's University to take on the Philadelphia Spinners. Go to spinnerstix.com and grab a 4-pack for just $44. Join us for games, prizes, and ultimate fun for the whole family. June 15th at 2 p.m. Tickets are on sale now.
All right, welcome right back here to Hormel Stadium, and a convincing win tonight by the D.C. Current, 21-16 over the Whitecaps, and the first loss at home for the Whitecaps this year. They finish at 4-1 at home. Our player of the game down below, Markham Schaffner, and certainly has done a terrific job with the D.C. Current. And Markham, boy, your team played a very high level for the entire game here today. That must have been part of the game plan, right?
Oh, it was huge. We rely on our D-line to go out and do what they did today, which is give us a cushion. It's nice for our offense to be able to operate in lower pressure situations when we've got a lead. We can take a little more risky options. and generally find a flow that really fits what we're looking for, because our defense, we know we can rely on them to get us breaks back and give us that space that we need.
Instead of calling it risky, why not creative?
Creative, that's a better word. That's the word I try to use when I throw turnovers.
Yeah, there you go, exactly. It's not your fault, right?
Yeah, well, most of the time it is, but,
Talk about turnovers. Not too many of them by your team today. Something that you were causing the fact that Boston can really hurt you if you do that type of thing, huh?
We were clean today. Boston's a very good team, and they'll punish you with mistakes. But in general, we held onto the disc pretty well. It's easy when people are fast. Our team is fast this year, so people are open. We're moving the disc quickly, and it just works.
You guys are working the sideline, too. Is that part of the scheme there? Or I shouldn't be talking about that if someone's trying to scout you out there.
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
Yeah, working the sideline, up and down the sideline, staying away from the middle of the field, not reversing it in that long stretch down the sideline.
So it depends. The field is so large that it doesn't particularly matter where you are. There's space that you'll be able to find. So really, it's not a particular call that we're making. We're just finding the seams that are open within the defense and taking advantage of what they're giving us.
Trying to figure out what is the big difference in this D.C. team from 2013 to now, 2014?
I think just top to bottom, we are faster. We're more skilled. We're confident in ourselves and in each other. We've never felt like we're going to lose a game. We've never felt like we're down. We really rely on each other and pick each other up early, and it's nice to see the machine operating the way it should. We designed it, we practice it, and we're just executing it in games the way we want.
A lot of spirit, too, a lot of energy down to a man. And certainly, who's showing the team leadership out there? Is it just a bunch of different guys bringing everybody along?
I think it's all around. I think everyone's picking each other up. Everyone's positive. Everyone's making plays and talking from the sideline. There's no one particular person that is leading us. We're leading each other, and we're a true team right now.
Well, you've clinched the Eastern Division. You've clinched a home date for the upcoming playoffs. Got to make you feel good. You don't have to travel 9 hours somewhere.
It's great. I'll miss the Boston bus ride, but I'm not going to lie. It's nice to have our playoff game at home.
You're going to miss the Boston bus ride, huh?
It's fun. It's fun to be on the bus with the team for an extended period of time in a certain environment, but it'll be nice to sleep at home before the Eastern Conference Final.
Final question for you, because I got to know. You drive 9 hours, right? You're in a bus. What are you guys eating?
So it depends. Matt Dewhurst, our GM, hits us up with lots of Cliff Bars, Gatorade, and then we'll make a stop before our games, typically at a rest stop. But I'd like to give a shout-out to the Wodach family who live in Connecticut. And on the way up today, we stopped for a big barbecue at their house, which might have been the secret for us. Stretched our legs, got some good food. And if that was the last question, I'd like to give one shout-out to Josh Marquette, Boston player who overturned a spirit call that he easily could have used early in the game or late in the game to get the disc back for his team. But it was one of the most spirited things I've seen in the MLU thus far, and it's good to see that from a great player at a high level of play.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Best of luck down the stretch here, Markham.
Thank you very much. Have a nice evening.
You too. Markham Schaffner, great job down below for the DC Current here today. They win 21-16. And final words, Jeff.
Well, they came out hot. DC, Boston came out flat, and it pretty much continued suit the whole way. Boston made a couple little runs, not enough, though. DC is just too much to handle. Really, as I said earlier in this one, they are the premier team of the East and probably the league right now. Portland's having a nice season out west, so is Vancouver, but this is DC's show to run right now. Markham Schaffner, our player of the game, had a couple of nice come-out-of-nowhere plays, you should say, sneaking up behind the play. Kolick, great as always. Pryle, who's been a big difference maker for them, but guys like Chip Cobb and Gibson on defense, just Delrico Johnson. It was just a complete game effort from DC from start to finish, and that's why they are 7-1 now. And really, the first team for Boston to lose to at all, first team to them to lose to at home, and DC well on their way to making some good things happen come postseason.
All right, Jeff posted great work. Great job by the crew behind the scenes here, as always. 21-16 your final. Our final visit to Hormel Stadium in 2014. Catch us in Philadelphia next Sunday. Should be exciting. Goodbye, everybody. It is DC 21, Boston 16.